welcome you to Creative Health Institute. How many of you have been here before? How many of you are here for the first time? Wow, that's good.
Great.
You must have advertised. What we do once a year is commemorate Dr. Ann Wigmore. Dr. Ann Wigmore, well, I should have a little book here called Why Suffer, so I can hold it up and see it, because that book that she wrote saved my life after the doctors gave up on me. And for the first 13 years we were open, she was here 12 summers. She loved to come in the summertime because she liked the wild edible. She would be out in the garden picking lamb's quarter and purslane and sour grass and the things that she could come in and blend into an energy soup. And she just did her thing. When she was here, everything changed because everybody followed Dr. Ann around just to be in the radiation of her energy, because she had a wonderful spiritual energy. And so I can't praise her enough. I had the opportunity to travel with her and learn a lot of things about her. And so those of you that don't know, she was 83 years old. She was healthy. I walked with her in Boston from one place to another. I could hardly keep up. And but when it came time for her to leave, there was a fire in her apartment and she died of smoke inhalation. She was not burned. She was fighting the fire. And because when the firemen got up there, finally the smoke cleared away while she was in the hallway. She wasn't burned. She just passed out from smoke inhalation. And the water was still running in the bathtub in a bucket. So we knew exactly how she perished. But actually she just went to glory. And I think the time had come. Because I don't think it's fun to live past your years. She lived with wonderful active health. She was, at the time, she was still taking speaking engagements. I talked to her one time and she said, well, I've got 23 invitations from foreign countries. She said, I'm going to do 3 of them. And she did wonderful things like spend 6 months in India, where they rented a little hospital and turned it over to her, a 26-bed hospital. They gave her doctors and nurses and told her to just do her thing. And it was amazing. I heard from her, she said, I must be under a special blessing in India because people are getting well faster. Well, when she came back, she said, well, she finally figured it out. In this country, it was toxicity that were making people sick. In that country, it was just deficiency. And it was a lot easier to cover deficiencies than it was to have to detoxify the whole body. So anyway, I just have wonderful memories. And I could make notes and stand here for 3 hours talking to you about her, because I read her book after the doctors gave up on me. And I decided to do it strictly on the faith in the book. And so I stopped eating all meat, milk, eggs, cheese, salt, sugar, nicotine, and alcohol. That was what I put on my list as the greatest offenders from what she had said. And I started raising wheatgrass the next day. Well, the first time I drank wheatgrass, it almost floored me. Because there's a rule with wheatgrass: the harder it is to take, the more you need it. If you're healthy and you're not toxic, you won't get a shock from it. The body will just accept it as a nutrient base. But when you're toxic, it gives you this reaction. I say that the first time I drank bourbon, I went, oh, this horrible stuff. Why does anybody drink that? The first time I drank wheatgrass, I went, oh. So I finally figured out that when you get these reactions that get your attention, it's just the body telling you, hey, what you just put in your body is powerful, so take it easy. So 5 weeks after I started taking wheatgrass juice, I got the first pain relief without medication I'd had in well over 5 years. And I stayed on the program, lost 55 pounds. All the diseases went away. I haven't, the doctor that told me I wasn't going to make it was at the University Hospital in Ann Arbor. He just said, go home and learn to live with your problem and get your affairs in order. Because I was a brittle asthmatic, and 3 times I thought I wouldn't make it through an asthma. And I had, well, it's complications, but we're not here to talk about that. I just want to explain to you why I have such reverence for Dr. Ray. Because there's this establishment out there that is charging billions of dollars for health care. And it didn't cost me a nickel. It didn't even, I didn't even pay for the book. The lady who knew I was sick brought me the book and said, you need this. I read it and realized I did. She just happened to bring it 3 days after the doctor gave up on me, and I was really wondering what I was going to do. Well, it cleared the air. So during my 3 years of healing, I would call the Institute, and I would buy more books, and I would ask questions, and finally I said, does the famous Dr. Ray ever talk to anybody on the phone? He said, well, let's see. And in a minute, comes on the phone this lovely voice that says, what can I do for you, my dear? Well, I learned later that she called everybody my dear, because she couldn't remember names. Anyway, instantly I had a friend on the other end of the line who really projected a sincerity. What can I do for you, my dear? Wasn't just an empty statement. There was empathy in it. And so I finally, after I got well, decided to go to the Institute. And I went there and spent 12 days. Well, I could have gone in saying, I can teach them a thing or two, but I didn't. I went in there saying, now I finally get to go to where the center of her activity is. And I remember sitting at the table the 5th evening I was there for the evening meal, saying to the young lady next to me, oh my goodness, if I'd have come here in the first place, what took me 3 years, I could have done in 3 months. Well, I didn't have a basis for that statement other than the fact that I just blurted it out. But since we opened this place, I've seen people with disease profiles like mine come here and really get on the program. And in 3 months, they've stabilized it, and they know they've turned it around. I was doing it trial and error, and I also had a tendency to experiment. So I did a lot of wacky things that were, I got into enemas and implants and bowel cleansing, and sometime tried a 1/4 teaspoon of cayenne in an implant. You set your tail on fire.
Yeah.
But it sure did create peristalsis, it sure did create activity. So anyway, I experimented a lot. As a matter of fact, one time we had an abundance of watermelon. We'll probably have at least 100 watermelons this year from our gardens. We had a wonderful surplus of watermelons. So I decided to do a watermelon enema. Well, I thought 15 minutes later I might not live through it because it creates gas. turns to methane so rapidly because of the sugar content that, honest to God, I was seriously worried until finally it came up. So the fluid part was all right, but the gas buildup in the system was just so rapid that my body had to adjust to it and eliminate it. So anyway, I'm telling you that in 3 years, I was learning from Dr. Ann, being guided by her wisdom, doing a lot of wacky things that just occurred to me as maybe a way to clean out. Because I did study Dr. Walker and other people who told how to clean the body out, how to convert to, I mean, Arnold Eric was he was the old man of living foods and fasting before Dr. Ann. And so I did a lot of study, I did a lot of experimenting, but all the time I felt like I was under the protection of Dr. Ann, because all I had to do was call and ask her a question. She always had the answer. Well, I did a class here a while back, and somebody said, you know, where did you get all this experience, because you answered all my questions? Well, praise God. I learned from Master. So I want you to remember that Dr. Ann Wigmore impacted the medical paradigm probably more than anybody on the planet up until just about 5 years ago. And then Dr. Day, a wonderful doctor who had cancer and refused chemotherapy and radiation, decided to study alternatives. Well, I did the same thing. I studied alternatives for 4 or 5 years. She was a good student. She studied them all in rapid succession. And out of the 60 alternatives that she studied, she actually tried 40 of them, if you can fathom that. But then when you see her video, she's got a cancer tumor that's as big as a grapefruit, an angry-looking thing on her chest. And so she says on the tape, which we play for every class here, every session, that it was Dr. Ann Wigmore's Living Foods program that saved her life, because she said 8 months after she got on Dr. Ann's program, her cancer had healed up. The whole thing had reversed, had detoxified, was gone, and she had a blush of nice fresh skin over that place where that big tumor was. So I say that Dr. Ann was my shining star. And I wondered what kind of a star might come along that could shine beside hers. And so Dr. Day is the new shining star. If you want to learn about living foods, transformation, and doing what we teach here, which is detoxify and rejuvenate. And all you've got to do is stop putting the things in your body that make you sick, and start giving your body the things that will spill it off, that will detoxify, and change your blood chemistry, because blood chemistry changes very rapidly. Stifled blood systems do not oxygenate. So you suffer oxygen deprivation, and that lets cancer. See, all degenerative disease are interesting, but cancer. Well, I went to a meeting one time, and before the meeting there was groups of business people standing around talking, and here's this group over there, and I kind of walked up to him, and he said, and they were talking about somebody they knew, and he said, well, oh, he's got the big C. So I stood there for a minute and realized, as far as they were concerned, the man was dead. They had written him off because he had the diagnosis of the big C. Well, Dr. Day's tape will write that And we write it right here, because there's over 105 different types of cancer. There's one cause for all of them. It's establishing a body chemistry in which the disease can progress. The disease can establish itself and grow in the body, and as the disease gets stronger, you get weaker. And all you've got to do is what Dr. Ann taught. She said, there's life in living foods, there's death in dead food, and when you cook it, you kill it. She said, there are no incurable diseases. There's just incurable people. Because they won't do what it takes to reverse the disease. So if you all visualize disease as lifestyle caused and contributed to by the toxicity that they spew into the atmosphere and put in the food chain, then we're prepared to understand what Dr. Ann taught the world. And then we've got guests here right now, wonderful folks from Israel, and of course Victoria is here from Oregon. There's people here from New York. They come from all over the world to seek out this little place in Haughey, Michigan. I say it's a funky name and it's an unusual little town, and it is not a spa. If I really wanted to and could afford to do a spa, I wouldn't do it on a highway where the cars, the bellowing trucks will wake you up at night. And right now, I have the noise from that interferes with the session we're having. But it was an appropriate place to build this because I was here and I owned it. And I decided to do a center. And I told Dr. Ann, I said, I'm going to build a health center. She said, that's nice, Marguerite. Because a lot of people said that, but very few people did. But then when we were near, I built 21 bedrooms on, and we were getting ready to open, and I knew all the people in Boston. They actually trained our first director for us, and at the time that we were near opening, they sent somebody here to take pictures and come back and give them a report on it. And then they signed the franchise agreement with us. We opened up and we were Hippocrates Health Institute Midwest. And then later it was decided that she shouldn't franchise because of malpractice. If somebody came here and they accused us of doing something wrong, they'd say, well, they did it because of her teachings, and they could actually sue us for malpractice, and they sued her too. So a lawyer told her, you shouldn't have these agreements with people because there's liability involved. So they called us up and said, you're going to have to change the name and recharter. So that's when we became Creative Health Institute. And so it's a long story, but Dr. Ann is woven into every thread of it. When people come here to work at the center, and our turnover is horrendous, because we let people come here on energy exchange, and from that we usually select staff people, and that exposure, coming here and actually doing it and proving that it works, is ideal for a place like this. It makes it hectic to face, for 26 years I've faced, well, we've had 12, I call them dynasties. We've had 12 balances of people who came and ran this center. And then we have people like Rose who came from British Columbia because she studied with Victoria. And Victoria told her she ought to come here because she said, maybe I could do a health center. Well, she called me and said she wanted to come here and learn how to run a health center. So she's had an opportunity to learn everything here. And she's right now the director. She gets to feel the full weight of directorship. I don't know who's going to be director next, because the Lord handles that. So Dr. Ann started something that I don't think will ever stop. Because right now there's a raw revolution going on. You've probably figured that out. You can buy at least 200 books on converting to raw diet and getting the benefits of it. And who knows where that's going to stop. We finally figured out that fast food is addictive. That all of the fast food chains are dedicated to getting you hooked on their particular combination of salt, sugar, and fat. Because they're all addictive. They're simple addictions. So we operate so as to be a balance. And where to stop, I don't know. Except that there's a lot of worried campers out there right now. The organic revolution is affecting agriculture. The large complex of agricultural companies, corporations, is trying to convince the public that they have organic leanings and are doing some things organically. So what's here is here because Dr. Ann created it, ran the program in Boston and improved it, and then her book, Why Suffer, saved my life. That's why we're commemorating Dr. Ann. Because I will always live, well, I called her I called her then, and I still call her my angel of mercy. Because I was facing death. And I left the doctor at the University of Michigan Hospital in Ann Arbor, who had said, don't expect any help from doctors. And it shocked me, but I believed it. I have not seen a doctor for I broke my leg, I had to leave the doctor. But I don't need the medical paradigm. I do everything I can, everything that seems to help the body in its organic buoyancy. It tends to help. Every chemical that I hear of, that they tell me I ought to buy, I should buy their supplement, I should buy this or buy that. All I do is set out to learn where it comes from. Because it all existed in nature before some scientist said I needed to take it in concentrated form. So that's my search in life, is try to find everything that nature affords and find it in its natural surroundings, find it as it is naturally propagated, and use it, and teach it. So I take no supplements, no vitamins. I know that my balance is not perfect. But when I discover an imbalance, I look for the natural remedy. That's what Dr. Ann taught. And I tell you that if you have a condition and you think you need to set about to correct it somehow, don't forget that for over 5 million years, we know there have been upright walking humanoids, beings that look like us, that were walking the planet. I can't say they were human because I don't know what their mindset was, but I can say that nature sustained their life and offered the opportunity for us to evolve into the present human status. And then there's the glory of the spiritual future. Well, if nature can provide that and sustain it, for 5 million years. Why can't we trust it? Instead of feeling we have to run to somebody and get a diagnosis and a prescription. Why can't we do a self-assessment and decide we're going to figure out maybe what we're doing wrong? Because as I said, there's a couple hundred books on the Raw Revolution right now. There's over you can buy over 500 books on reversing disease. And we just had this week Paul Niss on, who's a published author, going around and telling this story. And Victoria is here today because I'll talk about that when I introduce her. All I want to say is that I want you to leave here realizing you can catch disease. You all know you can catch a cold. Well, you can catch disease, but you can also catch wellness. You can catch good health. And you can even come to a place like this and be subjected to the elements that make you happy. You can catch good health. Just grab a hold of it. And then you won't want to get rid of it like you do the sniffles. So that's my message today. Catch good health. I caught it, and I'll live the rest of my life attempting to bestow it, because my whole life is trying to convince people about, I want to convince people that they can experience wellness. Not only wellness of the body, but wellness of the spirit. And I could, now, if I was the person introduced today and you wanted to talk about wellness of the spirit, I can give you 3 hours of logic. That's very convincing. Has me totally convinced. So anyway, I feel it's time to introduce Victoria. Where is she? Now, let me tell you about Victoria. They were here for
9 months.
9 months.
Like pregnancy.
Yeah. Gave birth to something, didn't you?
Yes, you did.
Well, except that she was experimenting with a dietary change. Her book is outstanding. Raw Family is outstanding because in their family there were 4 people. They came here with 5, a visitor 2. There were 4 people who were all sick. They had 4 different diseases. They stopped eating cooked food and started disciplining their diet, and all 4 profiles of disease went away. And she'll probably tell you what the disease patterns were, that they all suffered. The only problem was that her husband, Igor, was, he went down hard. He didn't want to change the taste of the things he ate. Well, now she's a food prep expert who learned it trying to create things that were still living foods that tasted like Igor expected them to. So she became an expert doing what saved their life. Wrote the book and now other books. And so it's with great pleasure that I introduce you to Victoria Boutenko and Igor, her husband. And they have 2 delightful children, which were like this when they came, and they're like this now. And the last time they came, they brought the children, and they both addressed the public. They're wonderfully bright, educated. Like stepchildren. Okay? So, God bless this gal for what she's doing, and that she'll drop everything and come back to Haughey, and will tell you how to be well from her qualified perspective. Because she can tell you how to catch hold of health. Victoria.
Thank you, Don. Let us agree that when you want to clap, you do it in the sign language from now on. Until I finish talking. Can you practice? Yeah, thanks. You don't even know what you're up to now. After my presentation, being raw, you will consider it too conservative. I'm very radical, so beware. I've been teaching raw food now for 8 years. I've been making my living for 8 years teaching raw food. For 6 years, I think I've been wasting my time. But just telling people how good is raw food and teaching them how to make delicious raw food, because 0 people became raw after my talks. I did a wonderful job teaching them why raw food is good, and people got frustrated. They wanted to be raw, but 0. Well, they were less than 2% after a month, and after Christmas and Thanksgiving, they became 0. That's a regular story, and I was like a police calling them saying, "How you doing?" And then 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago, I discovered, somebody invited me to AA group, and I discovered that cooked food is an addiction. And then I did study, I did research, and I understood beyond any doubt that cooked food is an addiction. And then I changed my approach, and I don't teach about raw food anymore. Now I teach about cooked food, how to stay away from it. And now I have almost 100% success. People who take my class, my workshop, it's a piece of raw cake. They stay on raw food. They just cannot help it. So, are you ready? It's still not too late to run away. Because I'm going to just tell you something that will make it hard for you to keep eating cooked food. Okay. Cooked food is addictive on 4 levels. Do you all hear me well?
Yeah.
4 levels, or maybe more. I found only 4 so far. You hear me well, Sally? Great. Chemical, biological, mental, and spiritual. Chemical. All carbohydrates, when they cook, turn into sucrose. Do you know what sucrose is? Anybody knows? White sugar. You think you're eating brown organic rice, you're eating white sugar if it's cooked. You think you're eating squash or French fries, you're eating white sugar. Because cooked carbohydrates, this is a scientific fact, the cooked carbohydrates turn into white sugar. Non-cooked, fructose, something else, something legal body could still digest, and it's not sugar. Cooked carbohydrates, boom, white sugar. If you read the book Sugar Blues, if you heard other things, it's scientific fact that white sugar is very, very addictive. Some professionals claim that it's more addictive than alcohol. And if you try to quit eating something that is white sugar, you're going to eat it again and again and again and again and again. That is why in all international cuisines, the base of the food is cooked carbohydrates. You go to Italy, pasta, macaroni. You go to Oriental country, rice. You go to Mexico, burritos, tortillas. You go to Russia, bread. You go to America, all of the above. So, remember, the first level of addiction to cooked food, very simply, chemical level, based on the fact that all carbohydrates, after they cook, turn into white sugar. That's very simple. The second level is biological. My dear friends, I'm so thankful that you came here today. I'm so pleased. Biological level of addiction means that you were born as raw fooders. Well, Debbie and Jane and David, when you were just newborn baby, did you request your mother to steam her breast milk before you suck it? Tell me please, honestly. And you, Sally, and you, Christine, did you demand, Valerie, your mother, to boil her breast milk? Or did you just enjoy it raw? You were raw fooders. years. You were 100% raw fooders at birth. What a discovery. Congratulations, you already been on raw food. How long have you been on raw food? About 6 months. How did you feel? You were such a cute baby then. So as human beings, we were created to be raw fooders at birth. Do you believe me? Yes. However, at about 6 months old, your pediatrician told your mother, now you need to introduce cooked food to your baby. He's old enough. And then he didn't say, give him as much as he wants. No, the doctor said, give him a little bit at a time, a teaspoon a day, and then increase it every day. Your mother was very happy. Grown-up son, grown-up daughter. Put you on a tall chair, put a new babe on you. Here was the father with the camera. Grandmother brought a new silver spoon. You were sitting there, what's going on? And then your mother said, open your mouth, baby. And you open your mouth because you were such a cute baby. But as soon as the cooked food touched your tongue, your body said, oh no, not that baby. Oh no, this is going to jeopardize your whole life. And then the baby did this. Have you seen babies do that? Not for the breast. The breast, they just grab it, right? But for the first cooked food, you probably don't remember how you didn't like the taste of first cooked food in your life. But I'm sure you remember your first sip of coffee. That was a magic drink your mother was taking everywhere with her. To the bathroom, to the bedroom, to the car, from the car to the store. She had this big coffee mug with her everywhere. And you were wondering what kind of magical taste it should have. So my mother really is enjoying it. She cannot live one morning without coffee. And one day they allowed you to try coffee. Do you remember, honestly, can you tell me, how was it? Now you have a hard time getting off it. The first one was horrible. You were wondering, why in the world she likes it so much? Do you remember that moment? But it takes you 3 times, you own it. Careful. So that's what happened with cooked food. And then your mother said to your dad, okay, put down the camera and hold the baby. And then they forced it in your mouth. And then you did it. That's right. Did you see children do that? Again and again, and the mother said, oh, I don't know if you got anything in. But the baby develops diarrhea. Because the body says, no, get out of it as fast as you can. Mother is persistent, doctor says it's a good thing, and then the body has to abide and to adjust. And now the transformation, the gigantic transformation happens in the body. The body becomes cooked food body. Dr. Alexander Zalmanov, he described in his book, Sacred Wisdom of Human Body, exactly what happens at that moment when you become cooked fooder. The amount of digestive juices becomes so much bigger. Now, the body produces 2 gallons of juices instead of 2 cups a day. 2 gallons of digestive juices per day instead of 2 cups. The raw fooder has only 2 cups of juices per day to digest raw food. There are people who eat 3 cooked meals a day, 2 gallons, 700 milligrams of saliva per day, 750 milligrams of pancreatic juice, 3 liters of stomach juice, and 3.5 liters of intestinal juice, altogether 2 gallons. It takes 80% of your entire energy to do this process, but that's unavoidable if you continue to eat cooked food. The good news is that only 2 months of 100% raw food flips you back over, and then you will produce 2 cups a day. And that's when most people quit. When they just eat 2 months raw food, they notice that they don't salivate anymore, that they don't have this growling anymore, that they could look at somebody's eating pizza and they fine. They, honey, you eating my favorite used to be lasagna and I don't even salivate. Wow, now I can control myself. Now I can eat cooked food again. As soon as the cooked food food touches their tongue, the memory of cooked food is so close and so fresh. Flip-flop again, and before long, honey, give me all your lasagna, go get 2 more. How many of you have been through that? Honestly, raise your hands. Thank you for your honesty. Okay. This is biological level addiction. I forgot to tell you something. Okay, I'll get it. That is why. Okay, if I will come to your place, wherever you are, 12:30, when you're just ready to have lunch, and I have my ear, and I go and put my ear to everybody's belly, what will I hear? Honestly, growling. What is that from? From the 2 gallons of juices there. Can you please think for a minute and tell me honestly, is it very comfortable feeling when you have growling and I won't let you eat? No. No, what do you exactly feel? Lightheadedness, depression, headache, anxiety, sucking feeling, not very good feeling. This is not hunger. These are withdrawal symptoms. Only people who eat cooked food go through those 3 times a day. When you put the first piece of bread in your mouth, the first French fry, the first pasta, the first whatever, usually cooked carbohydrate you want to eat at that time, it neutralizes those juices growling right away, quickly. We feel relief instantly. We feel like, oh my God, this is to die for. This expression, to die for, that's how we exactly feel. And that's why it is so impossible to get it from that person we feel in heaven. When we eat this first piece of French fry, when we're really hungry and have these feelings. In all the world, in every nation, people have this expression about cooked food, to die for. My book has been translated into 9 languages, and they didn't have no problem translating that phrase, to die for. And what's interesting, people in China and in Netherlands and in France, they don't have this expression about the car. They never say, this Mercedes-Benz is to die for. That sounds weird. They never say, this boyfriend is to die for. But about a 1/4 pound of sandwich, we do say, oh, this lasagna, oh, it's to die for. We say killer pizza and death from chocolate cake. And we do die for that prematurely. So because of that biological level of addiction, when our body becomes cooked food body, and it demands its piece of dose 3 times a day, otherwise you suffer. Because of that, we behave that way. Because of that, I, Victoria Boutenko, claim here and now nobody could successfully go on raw food by willpower. No. No, no, no. Because it's addiction, we have to apply some kind of method, like 12 steps, or there are other methods existing. But nobody could successfully stay on raw food for the rest of your life 100% without this, because it's addiction. Imagine you come into the health food store and you have $2 in your pocket. And you have 2 choices, croissant and organic mango. $1.99, both of them. Let us make a little research. How much does it cost to create a croissant? If for $9 you could buy a 25-pound bag of flour, how much does it weigh? If you really squeeze it, it's not that big. Croissant sounds like it's this big, but if you squeeze it, it's just like a ball. When they put them on the stove, they're very small. Then they get some air in them. Teaspoon of egg powder, teaspoon of canola oil, and teaspoon of some like starch and salt. That's all. How much does it cost to create organic mango? Somebody, listen to me, somebody down in Mexico had to plant it 25 years ago for you, and they had to water it in that hot Mexican climate every single day, sometimes by the hand, and then had to trim it every January, which is hard work. And then when it grew big enough, somebody had to climb the ladder and take each mango by the hand and gently put in the box. Somebody has to make the box, and then the driver has to drive it all the way from southern Mexico to Michigan. And then somebody has to sell it, and we say, wow, it's so way expensive. You must be kidding, $1.99. How many nutrients are in a croissant? Guess what? 0. How many in a mango? Minimum 55. So why do we choose croissant? Simply because of biological level of addiction, because mango will not give you relief. If you have growling and you eat mango, the growling will go more. Have you ever experienced that? You eat a salad and you don't really feel satisfied. You keep getting hungry. When you eat croissant, it takes care of our appetite. Instant. Fine. I can keep going now. Now, do you realize what we're facing here? Well, that's just biological level of addiction. And then the next one, okay, we had first was chemical, second biological. The third one is mental level of addiction to cooked food. Unfortunately, as children, we were not educated how properly to manage the stress. And we do have stress in our life. Do you have stress in Michigan? Maybe you don't have any traffic jams or anything here. Do you have stress here once a year? Tell me. Tell me, do you have stress here? You do? We were not educated how to manage the stress. We were told to eat whenever we have the stress, whether positive or negative. You crying baby, here's a lollipop. Or you feel bitter, here's chocolate to make your life sweeter. We have created, as a society, the foods that we gave name comforting foods. Listen, our food is not nutritious, it is comforting. Only the produce section is nutritious and not comforting. You cannot get much comfort from eating cucumber. But the rest of it is comforting. We eat it for comfort. What it is covering, not for nutrition. Didn't you know that popcorn is not nutritious unless you low in popcornium in your body? It's comforting when the movie is bad. And the corn chips are not nutritious. Didn't you know that? But they are comforting. When you feel lonely and need love, you just eat those and you feel loved right away. And the cake, expensive comfort. Fancy is not nutritious. Did you know that? That cake is not nutritious, it is comforting. Okay, and chocolate is not nutritious, it's comforting. So everything we eat is comforting. So we don't eat anything for nutrition, we eat everything for comfort. And that is such a bad, difficult level of addiction because there are different stress levels. There are some stresses that just everyday stress, like going to work, coming from work, just getting in time, not getting late, paying bills. That's just little stress. Sometimes, though, we have deep stresses, bigger stresses. For example, somebody hit your car, an accident. Somebody stole your car. Your purse got stolen. Your credit card got stolen. Your boyfriend left you. Your girlfriend got sick. Your child is hurt. Or your grandmother is in a hospital. Some bigger stresses. Because since childhood we were given lollipop whenever we have stress, that created this link in our subconscious mind. Stress, comforting food. And our body doesn't know what to do anything better but begin to pump the juices in your digestive system. People who've been on raw food, by the willpower, 1 or 2 years, successfully, because when we go on raw food, we begin to experience very nice health changes, and that gives us endorphins, and that kind of neutralizes the stress, the little stress. But everybody I know, as soon as they had a big stress in their life, they quit. They told me, they wrote to me, they said, I was fine, 100% raw for 2 years, but then I was laid off my job, and I just started to crave bagel with cream cheese and chocolate, hot chocolate. Like I couldn't leave. I couldn't do anything. I couldn't work. I wanted the junkiest food. It was in my mind, and I had to come and eat it, otherwise I couldn't continue my life. How many of you have been through that? Anybody here? So we need to learn the correct stress management. And you know what? It's very easy. Whenever you want to eat cooked food, whenever you have stress, you just need to go for a 15-minute walk. That is how simple it is. When you walk in for 15 minutes, your muscles produce endorphins, and these endorphins take care of your stress. That works for everyone. And as Victoria Boutenko say, walk until you feel better. And also drinking water. When we have stress, there's supposed to be a certain amount of water pressure in the brain. We instantly become thirsty when we have stress. Coca-Cola doesn't work. Milk doesn't work. It has to be water. Because Coca-Cola and milk and juice has to go in your stomach. And only water could go where it needs to go. And even when you just have stress, drink 2 cups of water instantly. Your stress will be reduced maybe 50% right away. Simple, but just need to know that. So this is why some people have been on raw food. 7 years, my friend, I won't tell you his name, his favorite. His raw food teacher, been on raw food 7 years, no problem, 100%. He was laid off, he lives in Portland. And then he lost his apartment, lost his job, lost everything. He went on cooked food. In 3 months, he gained 100 pounds. He's very, very ill now. Cannot eat raw food. He eats like 99% cooked now. Stress. And we had long conversation. He said there was a stress that he couldn't manage. And finally, we come into the 4th level of addiction to cooked food. So what did we have so far? The first one was what? Chemical, carbohydrates, cooked sugar. Okay? Second one, biological. When you were born, you were a raw food baby, and then your mothers, with the best intention, hooked you on that stuff. And the third one was stress. Yeah, and finally we came to the most important level of addiction to cooked food, that is spiritual. Spiritual level of addiction to cooked food. Spiritual level is the base for any addiction. My dear friends, let us remember here and now that we are the spirits. You are the spiritual beings. We live material life. It's crazy. We are spiritual beings, but we live in material life. If you ever understand it, you'll be shocked, like an electrical shock. Like, wow, you are vibration, you are energy, you have unlimited freedom in your life, and you live in material cage. You are spiritual beings, you're human beings. Because of that, you have special spiritual mission. Each one of you came to this planet with special spiritual mission. Do you think the mission is just to have a good credit history? The mission is special for every one of you. And because we cannot see with our eyes the spirit, we cannot feel it physically, it's vibration. So it looks like we don't care. But when you do not follow your spiritual mission, you will develop, inevitably, spiritual pain, which is so hard to bear that 30,000 Americans every year commit suicide. Having a good life. They have roof, they have clothing, they have family, they have 92 channels of fun on TV. They have everything they're supposed to. Why are they not overly happy? Some of them are 16 years old. 210,000 of people try to commit suicide every year. Over 40% of elderly Americans take some kind of antidepressants. From what? The life's supposed to be so precious. We give our blood to save somebody's life. We go on raw food to be alive. And then we kill ourselves. It's because we have this unbearable spiritual pain when nothing seems good enough. We're looking at this boring TV and we feel so sorrow inside. I thought maybe only adults have that feeling. I went to the kindergarten. I asked 6 years old, do you ever feel boring? They said, oh lady, we feel boring all the time. We have all these toys and all these books and all these video games, and we feel so boring. And I said, so what do you do? They said, we drink Coke, we eat pizza, we play video games. We go on a very dangerous rollerblades, skateboards, and we take drugs. We try them and they really work. Because this is the core of our life. And the most important thing is to wake up spiritually and find out what is your true mission. And isn't it strange that most of us don't even know what this mission is? We really, if we ask the people say, well, I really don't know. I really don't know. So, in my program, I kind of give you a hint how to find out. Find out. Don't waste even ever one more minute of your life. When you're not living your spiritual mission, you're wasting your life. My mother's last words on her deathbed were, when she died from bone cancer 7 years ago, her last words were, I wasted my life. I wasted my whole life. She already was in different dimension, and she was giving me and Igor the most important message she could possibly give me. That she said, I wasted my life, that we both had goosebumps when she said that. I didn't argue with her. My instant thought was, I don't want to waste even one more minute of my life. I want to figure out, why am I here? It took me a year to figure this out. And then I started to go around and teach raw food to people from my heart, honestly, open. And I started to live this way. And everything came into my life, everything I needed, like a puzzle. So that is the core. That's the most important thing. And that's what we teach in our 12 Steps to Raw Food program. That is so powerful. If anybody dares to take it and goes through that, then they cannot help it but just stay raw. I believe that understanding that cooked food is an addiction will make more people go raw than just the health benefit. Please understand the health benefit is just a material subject. It's a material thing. To gain health, health is material. But to gain the freedom and to find your true mission is way too more important than just become healthy. Do you agree with me? Anybody here? Or maybe I sound too radical?
Oh, no. Come on.
So what do we do? Thank you. Thank you. That sounds like hugging. Thank you for support. That keeps me going. So what do we do? Step number one, the first step, is to get people out of denial. And it is so hard because the whole globe is not aware that cooked food is an addiction. People just think it's plain crazy. They criticize me. I receive nasty letters every day from people saying, this is foolish. This is ridiculous. You're fanatical. But let me ask you some questions, and you'll begin to see that there is a grain in that claim. Can I ask you 3 questions? And you promise me you answer loudly and honestly all together. Okay, ready? Have you ever overeaten in your life?
Yes.
Did you like how you felt afterwards?
No.
Can you promise me you'll never overeat again in your life?
No.
Where is the logic? See? Do you begin to see that you would love not to overeat, but something makes you overeat every time again and again and again? You cannot manage your eating habits. You cannot, this is not bad. It doesn't mean you're bad. It means that this is like disease. You cannot do anything. You gave up. And when they show you something that smells so good, but you know deep inside you shouldn't really have it, but as soon as you look, you don't even, you say, yeah, well, I'll take it. We give up. How many times did we try? Did you just overeat just once in your life? Maybe twice? Oh, we've all done it dozens and dozens of times. Some of us do it every single day. Sometimes we do it 3 times. And some of us would say, oh, I would like to stop. So, who is on the way? This is an addiction. When we realize, okay, I developed questionnaires and questions and all kinds of tricky questions when you don't know what's going to be the next question. And by the end of 1 hour that I spent on that first step, everybody in my classroom, all the most skeptical beings, scratch the back of their head and say, I guess I'm a cooked food addict. I never knew that. Oh my. And then step number 2 is, I shall get the sponsor. Remember how Odysseus, he couldn't stand the singing of sirens. So what did he do? He asked, the sirens were saying, come with us, Odysseus, and we'll take you to the land of pleasure. So nobody could stand, everybody would go with them. It's a symbol of addiction, sirens. So he told his sailors, tie me really, really tight to this ship, and no matter how much I will be ordering to you and yelling at you and calling you names, just don't let me go. And when sirens started to sing, he said, oh, let me go, I want to go with them, I don't care. And they didn't untie him, and afterwards, he couldn't believe how he lost his mind. Isn't that what happens with us, with cooked food? Cooked food is running our lives. It is running our lives if you really look at that. We want to make sure we have enough of it in the fridge, in the car, in the movie store, in the movie theater. We want to make sure that for 2 hours when we watch the movie we have something. Because what if we will have this feeling like I want something and there would be nothing? We will in the middle of the movie run and get those comforting things, no matter how much they charge for. And they could charge whatever for them. Drugs were always the most profitable. And when we go for a 2-hour hike as a family, how many coolers do we take with us? Why don't we just go with a bottle of water? Hi family, we're just going to go light. Just drink water and then we come home, we'll be so hungry and we'll enjoy our dinner. No, we carry those coolers and barbecues and oh, this is a big part of the hike. Having lots of overeating barbecues there. And then chocolate afterwards. Okay. So the second step is I shall get a sponsor. For this step, I give everybody a little white card with nothing on it, like a business card, and I ask everybody, please write down 3 main reasons why you want to be raw on this white card. This is very, very important task. Because what is the main reason? Is it really important for you? What are you doing here? All 40 or 50 of you, what are you doing here? Did you just come because you were hungry, you wanted to eat some raw food? Were you just curious, what is this Dan Koi doing here? Or why did you come here? Is it a serious reason for you? Why did you come here today? Can you be personal and share with us, somebody, what is the main reasons? Yes?
I just want to listen.
You were just curious. Thank you. Yes?
I came to get re-inspired.
Re-inspired, because it's hard. Yes?
I heard you 4 months ago and I've been raw ever since, so I had to get reconfirmed.
Thank you, thank you. Can you be more specific? What was the serious reason why you need to be raw in your life, Dennis?
Health.
Health? What kind of?
I'm diabetic.
Diabetic. That's serious reason. What do you think? How about you?
I want to live.
You want to live.
Right.
You want to stick to the body.
Right. I have diabetes too.
Diabetes. Anybody who wants to share your serious reason?
Well, it's not a health reason.
What? It's okay.
Well, it was very funny. About 5 years ago, I felt like there's something I wanted to eat, but I felt like it wasn't on the planet.
Oh.
And I thought, well, maybe I'm on the wrong planet. and I think it's the raw food.
Uh-huh.
And I've been doing this, but with a little bit of cooked potatoes mixed in, so I wanted to make that leap
Uh-huh.
and get away from that too.
So, when people write on their card, I ask them to write 3 main reasons why they want to be raw. Some people write, I have fibromyalgia. Because people already know that when somebody has fibromyalgia, as soon as they go 100% raw, all this unbearable pain ceases to exist. As soon as they eat first piece of this nugget, chicken nugget or whatever nugget, the pain comes back altogether. And so people with fibromyalgia, they destined to go 100% raw. Otherwise, they'll have to go medical way and make it worse, 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 worse. So they write, I have fibromyalgia. Then they say, I need to lose 60 pounds. Is it really an issue? Is it important to lose if you have 60 extra pounds? Do you think it's important?
Yeah.
Or would you rather stick to them? It's part of you. You want to hold tone to that. I need to lose 60 pounds. And then somebody writes, I don't want my children to take care of me when I'm old. My own mother, it took her 11 months to die. She was dying from bone cancer. She had a strong heart, but bones were getting cancer. For 11 months, she's been crying day and night, begging God to give her death, because morphine didn't take care of her pain anymore. My brother had to send his daughter away with me because she went hysterical. She couldn't stand those cries from her beloved grandmother day and night. My brother, after 6 months, got nervous breakdown, and my mother's sister had to take her in, and she spent her last 3 months with my mother's sister. And she had nervous breakdown. It is not that we don't love my mother. We do love her dearly. But her suffering was exaggerated. I mean, it was excruciating. It was hard. I only spent there 10 days I had breakdown. Would you want this to do this to your children? Well, that's one of the ways people die these days. So people write their 3 main, they just really, I want to think them really hard and just write honestly. What is the main reason why you want to be raw? Is it really important for you? And then we divide into couples, into pairs, and everybody share their cell phone number. And that's sponsors, each other's sponsor. Like, I'm your sponsor, you're my sponsor. We write the sponsor's phone number on the back on this card. And then I say, for 2 months, whenever you think about eating cooked food, you have to call your sponsor. Because you cannot manage it by yourself. You just realized it in step 1. So now your friend is going to be helping you. And if you consciously, really, in your free will, making this decision, I really want to be raw. I really want to make this change. Then you say, hey, Valerie, I cannot do it by myself. Can you please help me? And when I need your help, like Odysseus, I'm going to call you and you're going to help me. You're going to talk me from it. And then the funniest thing is that most phone calls people receive on the first night after workshop. 3, 4, 5 calls in one night. Like when people come from this safe environment in the class into their smelly house where they barbecue and brew coffee, and they say, oh, I'm going to call my sponsor. And they open the fridge and there's this cheese there and ham, and oh, I'm going to call my sponsor. So what do you do? And then I went to professional psychologists and I received training from them. And now I teach in my classes how to be a good sponsor. Let me tell you one example out of many, how you could behave as a sponsor. And somebody's calling you and say, hey, Celestia, you and I were sponsors. So we took Victoria's class just 2 days ago, and I'm calling you because I'm a teacher, and I went in my teacher's room, and they making their organic popcorn with the raw coconut butter on it. And it smelled so good. And I decided, Celestia, I'm going to eat 2 pieces and keep eating raw food. That's why I'm calling you. And then Celestia is supposed to say this. Victoria, keep talking to me on the cell phone and begin to leave teacher's room, keep walking outside, keep talking to me. Okay. And then she's supposed to emphasize the positive change. And she says, that's why she's asking, how long have you been raw? And when people just first days raw, they usually know exactly 2 days, 3 nights, and 3/4 of a day. Because it's not easy. I'm saying, I've been raw 2.5 days last year. And so how do you feel? Oh, I feel better than ever. Oh, really? So she's trying to really emphasize, bring me to the positive side of raw food and take my thoughts away from that popcorn that smells so good, so my juices kind of go away. And then she said, do you have your card on you? Oh yes, I always carry my card with me. So what's on that list? I have fibromyalgia. Oh, by the way, Victoria, how is your fibromyalgia? Oh, you know what? I almost don't have no pain. It's amazing. I don't take pills anymore. Oh, how good. Congratulations. Oh, wonderful. Victoria, do you realize that if you eat these 2 pieces of popcorn, you might jeopardize your whole effort? Oh, yeah? Oh, yeah. I remember Victoria said that in her class. Keep reading this. And then I say, well, I need to lose 60 pounds. So how is your weight? Oh, I lost already 5 pounds. Oh, congratulations. Oh, how wonderful. I'm so happy for you. And so then she says, she feels like I'm already kind of balanced again. She says, can you think about something you could do instead? Eating these 2 pieces of popcorn? You know, it's such a wonderful day. I think I could go for a 5-minute walk. While they have a break in the teacher's room, I'll just go for a walk. That sounds good, Victoria, and that will bring some endorphins into your body. Or maybe I could run to Whole Foods and get some banana smoothie there real quick. Thank you so much, Celeste. You saved me on raw food. This is just one way of acting. And you know what? It is working. It works. It works for hundreds and for thousands of people. After 2 months, they don't need any more phone calls. They begin to catch themselves. Then every time they see cooked food, they say, well, I have to call Celestia. I don't even want to bother. I just go straight to the walk. And then 2 years later, the next stage, next phase of raw foodism begins. The first year is easy. The first 2 months are very hard. The first year is easy because you will be experiencing health improvements, and that will make you so excited. And it will not be routine. You will be just enjoying that you can run, you can hike, you could do everything. You can fire all your employees and do everything by yourself now. But after 2 years, it becomes routine. Well, I haven't been to doctors for 2 years, and it's kind of boring. Well, I'm talking to my friends, and they all have to say something, and I don't about their diseases and what kind of pills they're taking, and I have nothing to say. I don't fit in this social life anymore. And you kind of begin to feel like I need re-encouragement, I need re-enthusiasm. Then the sponsors, you need a sponsor again. Now you need longer conversations with sponsors. And I give training how to be that sponsor. Well, you can hire professional psychologists for that and just say, well, I want you to encourage me to stay on raw food, and I'll be paying you like whatever you charge. You can do that. And then the step number 3 is how to make raw food delicious. It is absolutely important to make raw food delicious. Please don't introduce raw food to your children by making them just drink wheatgrass juice and energy soup and that gooey green mush from the blender. Children and teenagers specifically and other adults, they want to try something that looks very colorful. Dessert works the best. And it's so easy to make raw dessert. You just blend nuts and dates, and that's the dessert. And it's forever good. And the smoothie is the easiest thing to do. Smoothie. Do you know what smoothie is? 1 banana, 1 orange. Blend them together. Of course, you peel them first. And then you blend them together. And it's very important how you serve smoothie. Don't put it in an old, dirty, broken coffee mug that says, Grandma loves you. Not for smoothie. Addictive coffee, fine. But smoothie, you have to serve it in a nice clear cup that you buy at garage sale for $1. Put it in a nice platter with a napkin. And don't call it healthy food or raw food because people don't like it. Call it celebration, dessert, surprise, something else, Sunday. And say, hey everybody in my family, this dessert time. Who can say no to sweet, pink, beautiful, delicious smoothie? Put some cubes of ice there, it's a hot summer day. Who and why would say no? Of course, if you say to them, hey guys, I'm raw foodist and you don't want to eat the crap in front of me anymore, they wouldn't feel very encouraged to drink it. But if you don't say anything like that, they will say, can I have seconds? And then you could whisper, raw food? Oh, it was raw food? Oh, I liked it. You want to save it. Take care of that. Raw food is good. Learn how to make delicious raw food. You don't need recipes for raw food. All you need to know is that you have to put 5 strong flavors in raw food. 1 B and 4 S's. Bitter, sweet, sour, spicy, and salty in every dish. So first you take all leftovers you have in the fridge, mix them together to the consistency you like, and then add lots of lemon juice, lots of raisins, lots of celery for sour, for sweet, for salty, lots of spicy and lots of bitter. You'll be eating my soup there. It doesn't look very attractive because it's green, but when you try it, you can close your eyes and try it. It's so good. It's to live for. And then Igor was making with the crew of 9 girls there. I can imagine it was fun. This Gartenberger, they were all up to here in that. Together, wanted to make sure everybody will have enough. They put there 5 flavors. Lots of ginger spiciness, lots of lemon juice. Girls were surprised how many lemons we were juicing, right? Yeah. Lots of celery to make it salty, and some sea salt, some good sea salt. And then lots of sage or poultry seasoning for bitterness. And I guess we were out of raisins. We put some honey in there, but sorry about that. And so 5 flavors. And you have to feel, to be able to taste all 5 flavors at the same time. Not like just honey and everything else is dominated, but you have to feel all 5 on the surface. That is what is called gourmet taste. So I want you to remember when you'll be trying the food, 5 flavors, 1 B and 4 S's, bitter, sweet, sour, spicy, and salty. That's the answer. Yes?
What did you say with bitter sage and what was the other one?
Bay leaf or poultry seasoning. It's just the herbs. It's not no poultry. Oh, anything bitter. Dandelions, anything bitter. Okay, that was step number 3. Step number 4 is I shall live in peace with a cooked world. Have you heard that people sometimes have resistance to raw food? Have you heard that? Anybody heard that? Where do you think this resistance comes from? Let's make some research and we will be surprised. Let me ask you this question. Have you heard this expression, junk food? Have you heard this expression?
Yes.
Who do you think created this expression? Those who eat French fries or those who already don't?
Non-eaters.
Tell me, please.
Those that don't.
The people who eat
I think this expression is pretty insulting for those who still eat French fries. And those who don't anymore, they used to enjoy those. And when they were enjoying, if somebody would come to their table and say, hey, you're eating junk food here, they would be insulted. Now they quit, and now they're telling us, or the rest of the people, hey, you're eating junk food. It's insulting to call people's food names. Who we are to call other people's food names. Do you call other people's houses names? Other people's dogs names? other people's pianos names, other people's cars names. What kind of you driving? So it's insulting, right? Let's remember that. Have you heard this expression? Don't tell me you have headache. I told you you should go on raw food. You wouldn't have headache anymore in your life. You've heard this one? Let's agree instead that we raw fooders, raw food pioneers, let's be loving and hugging and accepting and smiling and joking and working hard, and so that everybody would say, since my wife became raw, I got a new younger wife. Since my husband became raw, his salary doubled. Who can say no to good things? So I think resistance comes from us making a big mistake, trying to change the world. As Dostoevsky said in Crime and Punishment, most people are trying to change the world, when instead we're supposed to change ourselves. We only have power, each one of us, over only one individual on this planet. And we cannot change the world. Nobody can change the world. But together, you work on yourself, you work on yourself, you work on yourself, we can change the world. Let us concentrate on becoming the best of our own self. Can you look in the mirror and say, I'm already the best of myself? Can you, honestly? So keep working on it until you can. Keep working. And then the whole world will change. That's the key. So let's become accepting. Let's go home tonight and tell our loved ones, honey, it's okay with me that you eat meat. I don't even expect you to try my raw pizza, my raw energy soup anymore. If you don't like it, I don't even expect you. I fell in love with you not for your diet, not for what you eat, but for who you really are. And I'm so fond of you. And your beautiful blue eyes, and I just love you so much. So enjoy your golden chicken. I don't care. And so I love you. Let's give everybody a hug. Let's love everybody and say, it's okay. And you will be amazed that the next moment they'll say, honey, I would love to try your sandwich. Lately it's been looking so yummy. That's what happens with everyone. When they just let it go, people say, but I would love to try your raw candy. People don't like to be pressured. Do you know that? And then step number 5 is how to stand temptation and how to say no to temptation. Because cooked food is addiction and it is running our life, it is very often uses our brain as a tool to create very cunning exceptions, explanations. For example, sometimes your mother-in-law makes special cake for you. Your ex-mother-in-law, which is even more important. I still love you. This is apple pie made just for you. And your brain is saying, well, if I say no, I'll hurt her feelings. Does it happen to you? Somebody is making food right for you. And they say, oh, I made it especially for you tomorrow. And your brain begins to say, how do I say no? I'll insult them. For this reason, we teach in our classes, step number 5. We say that people really don't care tomorrow how much of that cake you will eat. And will you overeat or not overeat? What they really care is if you acknowledge their effort. Like your mother-in-law spent 3 hours baking that cake. So give her acknowledgement. Say to her, oh, mother, you made it for me? I'm so moved. I'm so deeply touched. Let me give you a big hug. Oh, this just fills me. I mean, this is wonderful. I cannot imagine. Can I do something in return? She really doesn't care if you really physically eat that cake. She wants you to know that she still loves you. So tell her you got the message. And then we teach you to say 3 things. First, you acknowledge. The second, you say with a bright smile, but I don't eat cooked food anymore. And the third thing, you come up with alternative. Hey, mother, I got the idea. Tonight, I'm coming from work at 6. I'm going to make raw apple pie, and will you help me, please? Who can say no to that? And we practice that. We practice it in the class, different situations. And then we go in the world and we practice that. And people become aware. They respect what we say because we respect what they do. It works. And so little by little we go through each step. And after we go through all 12 steps, people feel there's nothing I cannot do. I can really live like that. I feel like that's really easy. And it works. How are we doing on time? Are you getting hungry?
12:27.
I forgot. What time do I have?
1 o'clock is the buffet.
Okay, so I have another half hour. Oh, the time is different here than in Chicago. I see, because mine works is 11:20 o'clock. Oh, okay, 30 more minutes. I will tell you the most important message that I think I have. Well, my family, we've been on raw food for 9.5 years. Well, I remember how I said to Don, I've been on raw food for 2 years already. And he said, that's nothing. Wait till you be 5 years, and then I'll look at you. 9.5 years. And you know what? I have more questions today than I had when I just went on raw food. Not answered. Because in comparison with the whole world, 9 years is nothing. I'm a pioneer. You're the pioneers. We're all in the same boat, the same generation. I went through so many pitfalls. So many pitfalls. And I don't want you to go through the same pitfalls. And the biggest mistake you can make if you will choose one raw food guru, you read all the books, there are 250 raw books right now published or more, and you choose one, the best, that you think, this is the best raw food guru. And you say, now I'm going to follow each step that guru. That is the biggest mistake you could do. Are you hearing me? It's very important. In raw food, everybody has to follow your own path. Well, that sounds scary because we're so trapped in following authorities. We're so trapped in somebody telling us what to do. We so don't believe in our own self. We are not believers. We're not true believers. We want somebody to tell us what to do. The strangers who don't have no idea what you need. And I'm telling you here today, our body is not a dull matter. Our body is perfect. Your body is perfect. And it perfectly knows what you personally need. Your body knows what you need to do. It knows what you need to eat. It knows what you need to eat today. But you disconnected from it. You don't understand your body language. Sometimes you crave something and you don't know what you crave. Has it happened to you?
Yeah.
You don't understand body language. And that's what I'm teaching in my classes. How to get back in touch with your body and understand, my dear friends, it is possible. I'm doing that. My children doing this. My husband doing this. My students doing that. 10 years ago, I was 120 pounds bigger. And I was thinking to myself, why am I so not lucky? Why my girlfriend could eat the whole pizza and she wouldn't gain no weight? And I eat just a piece of this chocolate cake and I gain right away. And I was thinking, why God gave me such a bad body? Why I'm so unlucky? It has pimples all over, it gives me headaches, it hurts, it smells bad. I hate my body. Now listen, I didn't go to the store and I didn't buy a new body. It is the same body, but it is so much cuter now. No pimples, 120 pounds, shed it off and stayed off. So much energy. Traveling all the time in the car, in the plane, working so hard. So that means, do you understand? That means that my body was eager to be cute and healthy. Who was on the way? my behavior. That means that even 30 years ago, what do you think? 30 years ago, my body wanted to be cute and healthy. Who was on the way? My behavior, my education. Now that means that your body is eager. Your body is eager for you to be cute and healthy. Who is on the way? Your behavior. Remember you when you were born, you were so cute, baby. Remember? Did you see your albums? And then you started to live your life and you became less cute, less cute, less cute, less cute, less. Can you continue to do the same thing you've been doing, just add medication to it and supplements and expect to become cute again? Are you following me? Answer no. No. You have to change the behavior, right? And then you could become really cute as when you were 17. Would you like that? You'll throw away your glasses, your dandruff will grow beautiful hair, your gray hair will fall and brown hair will curl, and your skin will become like 16-year-old, and all the warts will fall off, and the headache will be gone, and all the dresses will fit you well. Your favorite ones. So, wouldn't it be wonderful? When Sergey broke his clavicle 2 winters ago, he was snowboarding and he fell on the granite under the puffy snow and his clavicle was broken. The first moment he craved wheatgrass juice. He said, my lips became dry and I wanted wheatgrass juice so badly. And he never particularly liked before wheatgrass, but he craved solidly and strongly wheatgrass juice. And as soon as they delivered him home, he sent Valya to the store. Of course, I was in Seattle teaching class. And he sent Valya, go to the store, health food store, and buy whatever we have cash enough, the quarter jar. She brought him quarter jar of the wheatgrass juice, almost completely, and lots of pulp. And he would just squish, and he would just drink and swish it in his mouth, and it took him an hour. And he enjoyed it. And the next thing he craved was sesame milk. Sesame milk is a champion of calcium. When I came home 2 days after that, I found a big bulb on his clavicle. And I said, tumor, let's run you to the emergency. The doctor in emergency looked and said, how wonderful. He developed a natural calcification cast. Usually people have like a ping pong ball. And then in order to do that, they have teeth ruined and the whole bones become bristled because the body is taking calcium in order to heal those bones. And he had like an orange here. I thought it was tumor, hard like a rock. And he said, beautiful. Let me take a picture of that. Because it was amazing. And the doctor said he will be completely immobilized for 12 weeks. He couldn't take off his coat. You have to cut it with the scissors if you want to change it. And he cannot take showers, and he can forget about snowboarding this winter. In 4 weeks, he was swinging on a rope in Hawaii. Isn't it great? Who could tell him there on the mountain slope, you need to drink a quart of wheatgrass juice. You need to drink so many pitchers of sesame milk, because he refused to eat anything else. For several days, he was just drinking a pitcher and pitcher after pitcher of those sesame milk. Isn't it great? Wouldn't you want to have this kind of ability handy? Now, 2 things are on the way. We cannot listen to the body. We cannot recognize, because we have 2 things on the way. First is addiction in our life. Big time addiction to cooked food. So if you ask your body, hey my body, what do you want? Your body will say, coffee and donuts. Because because whenever we have addiction in our life, it is demanding its portion 3 times a day or more often. Have you ever spent the night in a smoker's house? Do you know what they obsessed with in the morning?
Cigarettes.
Where's the lighter? Where's the cigarette? They're not caring about the sunrise or something else in the morning. First in the morning, they're concerned about the cigarette. That's what we're concerned. Whenever you have addiction in your food menu, cooked food, you will be craving what's addiction first. And then if you have some space there, you take a slice of mango. Organic, that's fine. Just a slice of it. You cannot imagine that it's your main food. 2 months into raw food, addiction withers away, your body adjusts back miraculously to being a raw fooder. You will begin to develop your true cravings. Suddenly, you hated cilantro all your life, now you can have enough of it. Because it takes all the mercury out of your body. And now you didn't like avocados at all, now you're eating 2 avocados every day. You didn't care for celery, no, you didn't really, you couldn't stand the smell of durian, now you want to eat half a durian every day. So you will have true cravings. Here's the second obstacle. The first is addiction. The second obstacle is our parents did not educate us at a certain age properly how to eat the food. They did not do the job of introducing the good foods to us. How they're supposed to do it. They're supposed to do it when we have our full set of teeth developed. They're supposed to introduce to us 12 kinds of seeds, 18 kinds of nuts, 200 kinds of veggies, and 300 kinds of fruits. You know how? They're supposed to take Valerie when she was 3 years old, and her mom would put 3 pumpkin seeds on her palm and say, hey, honey, chew them thoroughly and eat them, organic and raw, when she's hungry. You know what happens next? She chews those pumpkin seeds, and the body receives very, very good high-quality zinc from these pumpkin seeds. And it registers in her database, in her computer. From pumpkin seeds, we received a high-quality zinc. She would never have bristle nails in her whole life. Whenever she becomes low in zinc, her body begins to ask for pumpkin seeds by creating an image in her brain. Valerie will enter a Whole Foods store, and out of the corner they'll flash to her pumpkin seeds. She said, what's there? What do you have there? Where? There. Something is flashing at me. Or she'll look at her green wallpaper and it will look like old pumpkin. The body will find a way to let you know if it's introduced to you. If body doesn't know, the roasted and salted don't give you any zinc. So if all you ate was roasted and salted pumpkin seeds in your life, you'll be passing them all the time, and this is your cure, and you'll break in your nails and you don't have no idea. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like this. Unfortunately, we were introduced to 300 cereals, 200 bubble gums, 18 different kinds of pizzas, 12 different kinds of something else, corn chips, and that's it. So that is why when we crave something, we don't know what we crave. Did it happen to you that you really want something, you don't have no idea what it is? Your brain is trying to do his best. The brain is like a dog. The brain remembers that the food, all the food comes from the fridge. So it's honestly sending you urge to go and look in the fridge. And that's what we're doing when we crave zinc, potassium, calcium, iron, copper, really big time. We keep going to the fridge and open, and we look in and look in, and we go again and look in. Did you do that?
Yes.
And your children do that? And you're telling them, hey, you just ate, come out of here. You don't need to eat now. Some people mostly eat not from the fridge, but they eat out in the restaurant. So when they have some need in their body, the body sends an urge to go out. And suddenly they begin to look around like, oh, restaurants, oh, that looks so good, I feel so hungry. How many many times do you read this menu? Back and forth before you make your selection. Honestly. 4 times? Whatever. You cannot figure out what you want. They have variety there. You just look at it and finally you point into the next door table and say, what he has looks good. Bring me that. And then you kind of eat that and you feel so sorry when you pay for that. Expensive. Because you're not feeling satisfied at all. You're kind of questioning, what do I really want? At this time your body is asking, is begging you for 123 nutrients and 2,000 minerals. Please, Cindy, for God's sake, I want those, I need them. What I'm going to do, I'm going to break. And you don't know what you want. So, better late than never. You're not 3 years old anymore, but begin to introduce into your body more than just bananas, navel, oranges, and grapes. Begin to introduce endive and frise. Have you tried frise?
Yes.
And arugula. And all of those things they sell in stores, they have different things you need to know to survive. And all different kinds of sprouts, super, super valuable. So, whenever you be in any part of the world, in Bahamas, or in Australia, or in Alaska, your body will always choose what it needs. I always know, every single day, what I need to eat. Funny, very funny. I used to eat what's on sale. Now I eat what I need. Last year in September, we were in Florida, and I craved raspberries. And I didn't want anything but raspberries. If I wouldn't have raspberries, I'll eat, overeat, and still feel hungry. When I got my raspberries, I'll eat 2 boxes of raspberries. Didn't want anything else. Felt completely satisfied. My poor family was driving with me, and I made them go at 12:30 at night after we finished cleaning up after the class. On the other side of town, they say that they saw their raspberries, not even organic, half molded. I didn't care. I said, please, can we go there? And then I saw these raspberries. I started to take everything they had, like 10 boxes, and people were looking at me like, what kind of millionaire is that lady is? Because I wanted to make sure I'd have enough for tomorrow so we don't have to drive. Now I don't care for that. These days I'm into blueberries, and guess what? I have them in the car. So I always know they're usually seasonal. Sergey has been going through periods, long periods of he was craving bean sprouts mix. He would eat those every day. If he didn't have bean sprouts, he wouldn't want anything else. He just chew this and that. He wanted his bean sprouts. I cannot eat them. I don't like them. But he would eat them, and he would just, when he eats them, he didn't put anything on them. He just chewed them, and he would say, oh, oh, oh. You know, like, what's about Bob? Oh, oh. And so everybody in my family, it's different. We don't even eat at the same time as a family anymore. It doesn't make our family less friendly. But everybody eats different things, different time. Sometimes we eat once a day, sometimes twice, sometimes 3, and we all eat different things. When I come to town, we make a fist. So how do I make a fist? I take maybe 15 little balls, and I go and buy different things, and I chop a little bowl of chopped cucumbers, little bowl of grated carrots, little bowl of radishes, little bowl of endives, little bowl of avocados. Just the whole table is full of different bowls, and we sit there, and everybody take whatever they want. We call it a feast. Then we eat together. Before we do this, I take them to clean the backyard. When we work together hard for 4 or 5 hours, working physically, I make sure everybody gets hungry. And then we could tolerate sitting together and eating together. That's having a great time and talk. Interesting. My class usually like 15 hours. I try to squeeze. Children. Let me talk to you about children. Some people say, can I really risk and put my children on raw food? When I put my children on raw food, I was just hoping they will become healthy and so Sergey won't have his juvenile diabetes anymore, and Valia wouldn't have her asthma. But I got angels instead. They not just became healthy, they turned into angels. And I've met other maybe 13 different raw kids since then, and they all turned into angels. They don't want to watch TV anymore, they want to work. They work so hard, sometimes I feel guilty. They just want to work. They dropped my TV down the steps because they told me they were annoyed by me watching TV. See, I'm a product of all the time. And they would read so many books, they will play instruments, they'll study different languages, they'll do so many different things. They publish 2 books, they teach classes, they take care of my business. They do so well at school. When they went on raw food, they were below, before they were below average, barely C's, barely D's, whatever, bad. Teachers would call me anytime and always complain, Sergey cannot concentrate, he'll make airplanes all day long, break all these pencils. Valia, she should be hold back, she cannot spell, she cannot memorize. Ooh, what do I do? When they went on raw food, they came home and said, you know, teachers is not that bad. School actually is interesting. And they started to bring me A's. In the end of the school year, the principal gave me a reward in front of the whole school. He said, for good parenting. And I kept trying to tell him that it's raw food. He said, what are you talking about? What food? I'm saying you're a good parent. I said, okay. Next year, my children said, school is too simple. It's just too simple. Mom, we want to do 2 grades in 1 year and done with the school in 2 years, 3 years. They were 9 and 8 years old. So they did 2 grades per year, homeschooled. And then at the age of 14 and 15, they entered university. They did first college, then university. They took the placement test. I was just, was going to happen. They scored high. They didn't even require them to take GED tests. Well, you didn't pass GED even. They're both in college. The only thing is when they when they type their Social Security in there, the message will pop up. She's only 14. He's only 15. Well, now they're both sophomores. They have 1 more year. They 17 and 18. In 1 year, he will have major in writing. She has major in art. I never have to do homework with them, never. They are the only students in their classes who don't ever miss classes and never come to school without homework done. Sergey is writing for 3 magazines. Valia is illustrating the children's book right now. They're just so busy. Their life is so wonderful. Plus, they all searching for their mission really hard. If you have children, if you have nieces, nephews, neighbors, or if you have grown-up children, if you help them on raw food, you will be so lucky. You'll have to work less. And your children will be blessed. You know, Sergey came to me and he said, Mom, I'm so thankful that I had juvenile diabetes. Because if I didn't have it, none of us would go wrong. I don't even know. I cannot imagine what I would be. And he says, I'm thankful that I had it, that you did research and discovered that there is this way, raw food. Now, for them, for my children, raw food became normal life. They don't know cooked food. Can you imagine that if you ask Valia to make a toast, she would know how to do that? She'll burn her fingers. She'll burn the toast. They don't know, they don't have no idea how to turn on the stove. They don't know how to make coffee or tea or anything. But they are pro in raw food. They'll make you anything. They published this book, Raw Food with Raw Food Recipes. They overrun me many times. What takes me 30 minutes, how long did it take me to make soup today? 20 minutes? It would take them 15 minutes. Their recipes are simple, inexpensive, and delicious. And the complicated recipes simply didn't survive in 9.5 years. So I have feedbacks about their book that this is the simplest cookbook, uncooked book that exists. And darn, it sells better than any of my books.
How do you transition children into the?
How to transition children? Okay.
They're hungry.
In their book, they have several points, very important tips. What you need to do. First of all, you cannot just put children on raw food and send them back to the public school and to do the same things they did before. Raw food brings the challenges face to face with the spiritual path, and they know exclusion. Children are no exception. So you will have to spend 1 hour minimum with your child every single day listening to them. That's what I've done. You have to begin hiking with them. They have to have outlet for their energy. They have to be heard. They will be going through emotional and spiritual search, and they will require somebody to hear. Otherwise, they'll crush on you. They will not do raw food. They'll revolt. They'll run away. They'll hate us. They won't do that. I remember how my kids were hiding under the bed when they hear the blender running. I hear Sergey saying to Valia, run! And they both go in the basement and hide. Because next moment Mama would go with a tablespoon of this green gooey mush and, please honey, it's the same molecule as your blood. You mean it has lots of calcium. Please, you don't have to eat, but try it. And as if they care. So we figured out something was wrong. Luckily, we became homeless and unemployment at that time. And I had plenty of time. And when we left Denver, we went on the trip, and we didn't know where we were going. We came to the free campground, and Sergey was saying, "There's nothing to do here. There's no TV." He was still a city boy. And I said, "I'm going to read you a book." He said, "Yeah." And I had A Man Who Is Always Laughing by Victoria Hugo, and I started to read this to them. And it's a classical, it's a beautiful classical book. And they were coming closer and closer. I was reading for 4 hours until I lost my voice. And they would say, more, please. And so then I said, I lost my voice, now we have to discuss that book. And they said, that was the best book we ever heard in our entire life. And then, in those days, reading became more important for them than TV. And it never shifted, never switched back. And then we discussed it. And then I took lots of workshops, I read lots of books, and I understand that when you ask your children about their day, please never ask them, how was your day? Never do that. Don't ask them, what did happen today? Don't ask about what happened. Ask how you feel about it. Ask about their feelings. How do you feel about what happened today? Ask them, what was the brightest thing, what was the brightest spot in your day today? What was the most negative emotion you had? Can you tell me about the emotions? And then they wouldn't stop. They'll be all going on and on. They need to be heard. And while speaking, they will be learning something very important for them. They'll be ministering to themselves. Well, you will be learning as you go in. Being a raw child parent is very big responsibility. Public school is just for addiction kids. It fits, addiction. They have to be told by authority what to do, completely grow into somebody who needs to know from somebody else what they need to do. On raw food, they have to know, what do I need to eat today? What do I need to do? What do I need to study? What is my mission? And it really, that turns them into angels. My children are my teachers. Now I look into them when I have a question and I follow. Sometimes I come home and I feel tired, depressed, and they would come to me and say, Mom, it's okay, life sometimes is like that. And I say, yeah. And I like to put my head on Sergey's chest, and sometimes he just, Mom, you're tired. because I don't feel that they're children anymore, they're equal. They are mature, normal human beings. Other kids I met in my life, in the last several years, the same way. I understand that kids that eat cooked food, they impaired by it. And if some of you are school teachers or maybe you're a parent, and sometimes we're telling them, concentrate, can't you concentrate for 5 minutes? They can't. This sugar in the food doesn't let them. Get off them. They cannot concentrate. Feed them raw food, they'll concentrate all you want. They won't stop being concentrated. So, this is about kids. 3 minutes for questions. After buffet, we'll have more question and answers. Do you like what we're doing here?
Yes.
See, I'm not telling you here about how good are enzymes and why you need, and why raw food is good and how you're going to be healthy. I'm not doing any propaganda. All I'm sharing with you is about addiction to cooked food. Yes.
Is there any addiction to cooked protein or meat or fish?
Well, it's not, like addiction to cooked protein exists, but it's not as strong as addiction to carbohydrates are the major. If you really look at yourself, what is that you're addicted to? Meat is really fairly easy to quit.
Some people, I know, I have a son who, one thing he doesn't want to get off is steak.
Because it stimulates him well, but addiction to carbohydrates is the strongest, the hardest to get out.
Meat is a stimulant?
It's a stimulant. It stimulates. It stimulates the hormonal glands that produce hormones like endorphins and make us feel pleasure. So it's different kind of. What else? Oh, if you like the information on 4 levels of addiction to cooked food, I have it on videotape. And videotape is available there where Cassie's sitting. If you sitting here and thinking, oh, I wish mine has been here and heard this presentation, I have this on a 1-hour video. It's very inexpensive. I sell everything special. Because I don't want to carry that back in the plane with me, so buy it all. So, thank you all for listening and being so attentive. It's a pleasure talking to you. You're not sleeping, you're listening, you're alert. Wonderful. I hope you're really hungry and you'll eat all the food. Thank you. And we'll see you after this.
Thank you.
You like it? Thank you. I see it on the display after you. Okay, I'm going to be...
I'm gonna have to do that, Victoria.
If you want to. I have to stir it.
I like your hair. Thank you. Look nice. Good to see you. You too. Cute. I know. Oh, today? This day was a little late. I said, oh my gosh, I'm late.
1, 2, 3. Yeah!
Is that how to get us all back in the room?
That's exactly what Victoria said. I know how to get them all in here. All together now.
Can you tell I've been around for a while?
Shot for that, you know. The bell on our day off. The bell on our day off. I can hear that bell all the way over the mill, you know. I can hear that bell all the way to the mill.
Can you? What great hearing you have.
Don't you? I mean, I can't believe you still work with a band after they caused you to go deaf.
You know, I really enjoy what I'm doing, but every once in a while, I miss working with the kids, and I miss mostly I miss conducting.
Okay, get ready with your questions.
I would like to know why some of the people that are on the raw food diet, every once in a while, you see, and they're like skin and bones, I mean, they kind of look like walking skeletons. And they've been on the program for a while, and I'm just wondering why their bodies, you know, like like with me, the weight just kind of melts off, but I don't understand like why they don't put it back on.
Okay. Why some people become skinny and they walk around like skeletons, they cannot gain back?
You want a skeleton to answer that question?
I've noticed that some people have to lose weight on raw food. Some people just lose weight. Also, from my observation, I've noticed that those people usually have lots of toxins in them. So probably, if you're going on raw food and you're losing weight really, really quick, that probably means that you're very toxic. And then the body decided that it's easier for you to get rid of everything and then begin from scratch. When you buy a new home, you always come and you evaluate. Do you want to fix the house, or maybe sometimes it's easier to get rid of the house and build it from scratch? Sometimes it's easier, it takes less energy, the body. When you will lose everything, just have skin and bones left, and then it will begin to build up. Like my husband, he lost all the weight. I was so glad that my mother-in-law lives in Moscow, so she couldn't kill me. Because he looked like a skeleton for a long 1 year. Unfortunately, at this point, most people begin to eat cooked food, and they quit eating cooked food, raw food, and then they stay skinny forever. If they only stick to raw food diet, 100%, other people begin to gain, to eat nuts. They add nuts into their diet because they think that nuts will make them gain weight, and it doesn't work. Actually, they get skinnier. Somebody close that window. This trucks are just driving up. Usually I have a sound system, but there was no way I could bring it in the plane with this security system. Thank you so much. So, speaking of skeletons.
Any idea why they get skinnier?
When people begin to eat nuts, the nuts are very heavy on our system, and in the beginning, we need nuts, but then eventually we need less and less and less of them, and I could go into that if you would want later. But the skinny people have very weak, very poor assimilation. In Russian, we have a saying that I cannot translate that saying. It's like you feed the horse and the food goes backwards. So it's just like the food really doesn't get in the body, it just goes through like a composting machine. There's no nutrients that come from the food. They're very poor assimilation. The only way to improve assimilation is actually fasting, raw food, juicing, something that we think makes us skinnier. We have this brainwashed education that we get weight from food. We don't. Only 2% of energy comes from food. It comes from the stars, from the sunshine, from activities, from the water, from the relationship, and energy comes. But only 2% of the food, the energy comes from food. It's from the book by Gabriel Cousens, Conscious Eating. He has this break there, table. So what my recommendation, if you're beginning to lose weight, just live with that. When people come to you and begin to tell you, oh, what's wrong with you? You look so skinny. I'm concerned. You say, but I feel great. Would you like to run with me 8 miles up the hill tomorrow morning? They'll never come to you again. That works. Well, you need to surround yourself with people who understand what you're doing, who will not try to talk you. As long as you have enough energy, you're fine. Remember, you don't want to gain fat. You want to gain muscle. What is the way to gain muscle? Exercise. Exercise a lot. If you exercise, the muscle will come. If your assimilation improves, the muscle will come. There are many people around us who look normal, but they are anorexic because they just have too much fat and mucus in their body, and so we cannot see that they're anorexic inside. They really don't have much muscle. How many of people here could make 50 push-ups? So you don't have enough muscle mass in your hands, in your arms. So why don't we come to you and say, oh, I'm so concerned about you. But you have so much mucus and so much fat here that we cannot tell. So what's wrong with those who don't have fat and mucus? They're in a beneficial position. Does it make sense?
You said it takes about a year.
Takes about a year and a half.
Start gaining weight.
People who I know who lost weight, he turned into a skeleton, went through that and were able to stay, they got the best looking bodies. My husband, if you take shirt off him, look from the back, looks like 16-year-old, 18-year-old boy. His back is beautiful, gorgeous. I'm falling in love with him all the time. Fall in love. Yeah, when he and Sergey, my 19-year-old son, his 18-year-old son, when they climbed together, I look in the back, they both look beautiful. But when he was skinny, he looked like he's sick. My friend Jonathan Weber, his wife left him when he became skinny. But he now has a girlfriend, lawful girlfriend. And he went through the time when he looked horrible, like he's very, very ill. But he built up very beautiful body now. He looks beautiful, has very good skin. Have you noticed that all the people who eat raw food have shiny skin? How many raw fooders we have here? Look at them and you'll notice that they have shiny skin. They have this luster. And whenever they videotape me, they always tell me, hey, you just shining in my camera. I cannot see anything. You have to put some powder on your forehead, otherwise it's just shining at me. I can't see it. Because we have this shine. And it's something come from energy. From energy, sparkling from the... So it's health. Oh, did I answer your question? Okay, let's keep going next. Yeah.
Will a raw food diet reverse or affect arteriosclerosis?
Arteriosclerosis, it depends how far it's gone. Unless you could walk, you could be recovered, reversed. When somebody's already in bed, paralyzed, then not everything could be done. If somebody was born healthy, they could be reversed. If somebody was born with some kind of beginning of disease in them, like allergies, for example, or prolapsed colon, it couldn't be reversed all the way. So you kind of see where people start. The body will do anything possible, despite all the medical intervention. It will do anything possible because your body is dedicated to you. Because of the law of vital adjustment, there's a universal law of vital adjustment that everybody needs to know. There are laws made by humans and laws made by nature. Which ones are more important? Nature. The laws made by humans, you can break and you can get by. I'm not saying that you have to, but you can speed 5 miles over and not being caught by police. Did you do that? Yes. You can hide $5 from IRS and you can get by. But the laws of the universe, no matter how much you hide, you'll be hurt. It doesn't matter if you hide it in your cupboards, eating this piece of thing there, and nobody sees you doing that, you still will be hurt. So this is a universal law. If you eat something bad, harmful, you're going to hurt, even if nobody is seeing you. One of the laws of universal law of adjustment is every living thing is constantly adjusting and changing to the environment. Can you repeat that? Every living thing is constantly changing and adjusting to the environment. That is why the frog has the color of the pond. The snake has the color of the desert. And poor rabbits have to change their fur twice a year. They have to shed twice a year, otherwise they won't survive. It's hard work. So this is the laws of adjustment. That means your body is constantly changing. You take an antibiotic, it's changing, adjusting to antibiotic. You are beginning to sit most of the day, it's adjusting to sitting. You're beginning to run, it's adjusting to running. You begin to sit inside all the time, indoors, it's adjusting. It's adjusting to anything. You eat cooked food, it's adjusting to it. You drink alcohol, it adjusts to that. It adjusts to everything, to radiation, pollution, noise, stress, everything. Your body is doing it why? Answer me. Why the body is doing all this for you?
Always trying to maintain
Because your body
homeostasis.
is dedicated to your survival. How, after understanding this law, how can we believe that body is trying to hurt you? that your body is trying to kill you, it creates a high fever. Does the body develop high fever in order to kill you?
No.
Can this make any sense at all? Is there any logic in that? Why does the body create high fever? Because at high fever, the activity of enzymes doubles. Doubles. We have limited enzymes, and when we have high fever, they double. They just become twice as fast. Isn't it great? You have dentists, you have only 4 employees, and suddenly you have 8. Would you like it?
Yes.
The same price. Or you have only 1 helper cleaning your house, and suddenly you have 2. Isn't it great for the same price? Would you like it? That's what your body has when it creates high fever. Do you think the body has to work hard to create high fever, or it just like happens like this? The body has to actually work very hard. Your pulse goes twice as high. Usually your pulse is what, 60? When you have high fever, your pulse goes to 120. For hours and hours, your heart is pumping twice as fast. The body is going to such extent in order to create double activity of enzymes so that they will heal you better. That body decides when this healing pace is not enough, we need to get some extra healing, so I'll create high fever, the activity will double, and then we'll heal that problem. So we should really, when we have high fever, we should kneel and praise and say, thank you, my body, my precious body, for creating high fever. What can I do for you? The body will tell you, don't eat, fast. The body language is telling you so clearly, don't eat. It covers our tongue with white mucus so we don't taste anything. When you have high fever, you cannot feel taste. It enlarges your tonsils so you cannot swallow anything without pain. It stops our nose so we cannot smell the food. It makes our eyelids so heavy and painful we cannot see the food. It makes us thirsty. Our lips become cracked. It says drink more water and fast on water. Isn't that absolutely clear? Here comes grandmother with the chicken stock. Honey, you need energy. Where did she get that? From her grandmother. So that's how it's been going. You know, in Russia, they don't serve chicken stock when you have high fever. They give you different concoction. Boiled milk with a tablespoon of butter and a tablespoon of honey. You go to Indonesia, they have different concoction. They come to you as if they know what they're doing. Honey, you have to take that. So it takes you to fly around to see that it's all wrong. When we have fever, we have to fast. And actually, when you eat something, if your body has a little bit of extra energy, spare energy, it will throw up. Do you know that? So what do we do when we have high fever? What do you do when you have high fever? We decide that body is aspirin deficient. Aspirin, salicylic acid, is it something so precious that you would put it on every salad when you eat it? It's a so good thing. You will eat it by the tablespoon, put it in every meal because it's so precious thing that your body needs. Why do we put aspirin in our body when it's really trying to do hard work? It is a toxic poison. If you eat enough of that stuff, you'll die. So why do we do this? Because the body is so shocked by aspirin that it cannot continue to beat 60, 120 beats per moment. It's so hard on our heart. It hurts our heart. It's like heavy metal chains on our body. It cannot perform its duties anymore. If you measure the temperature of somebody who took aspirin, it goes below normal. Not high fever, it's below normal. It stays below normal for a week or 2. And how do we feel when we take aspirin? We feel very weak and spacey. Oh, everything is blurry. Oh, tired, go to the bathroom. Tired. What are we doing to our best friend, our body, who is dedicated to our survival? We're interfering with its wisdom. We think we know the best. Nobody's taking our parents' rights from doing that. We're just doing it because we believe it's good. But it does make no sense. If we allow our body to do what it wants, if we cooperate with it, how long does it take to to heal the system, why it's doing this high fever. When you let it happen, it takes about 12 hours only. If you just listen to your body and just drink water, stay in bed, don't eat, rest. When you feel too hot, open the covers. When you feel cold, cover yourself. Just go with the body. What the body is telling you, do it. Within 12 hours, you'll feel better than before you got fever. You'll have no weakness whatsoever. You'll feel like you can dance now all night. You'll feel like something really bad left your body. That's how I felt. So when you took aspirin, when you had your high fever, this aspirin stays in your body for the rest of your life, and the body is incapable to take it out of the system. And that is why you'll never be able to have high fever again in your whole life. You'll only have little fever. Have you ever wondered why when you were a child you had high fever and now you have this little? Is it true? Is it true?
Yes,
Tell me.
yes, never have a high fever.
See, now not anymore. But when you were a child, you had it. You have too much aspirin in your system and other stuff. The good news are that when you go on raw food, the body gets extra energy, extra capacity, and it could get rid of this aspirin through urine, through sweating, through other things, and you will get your high fever back. Do you know how good this stuff is? Everyone in my family had high fever once. It was great. It was wonderful. It only lasted several hours, and we felt better after the fever than before. Very, very clearly better. And I was thinking, what in the world I've been doing to me and to my children by feeding them that toxic poison aspirin when their body needed some support and calculation.
Just a minute. All the doctors tell you that you should take a baby aspirin once a day to make sure you don't have any heart attack. Blood thinner.
Well, they say that you could die from having fever. I think you could die if you overeat when you have fever. But if you follow in your body and don't do any stupid things, you can never die from anything that body does. You cannot be killed by your body. Your body, according to the law of vital adjustment, is dedicated to your survival. I will give you an example. In Russia, in the 70s, they translated the book Miracle of Fasting into Russian by Paul Bragg. Russian people are extreme people. Can you tell? And everybody were fasting, not one day, not 36 hours, what do you think, 40 days. I was right in the bus and everybody was saying, my wife is on for 39 days, they're fast. My husband just finished 40-day fast. Everybody fasting 40 days. The whole Moscow is fast. The stores have lots of food. And then one man had a heart attack he had heart problem and so he went on 40-day fast. He cured his heart problem. He felt really great. But he only had half of the book. He and his friend, they split the book in half. His friend got the half how to break the fast, and he only got how to do the fast. And so he didn't have no idea how to break the fast, 40-day fast. So he boiled 13 eggs hard, and he broke his fast with 13 hard-boiled eggs. He had internal liver bleeding. This night he died from internal liver bleeding. Next morning, all Soviet newspapers had headlines, "Fasting killed the man." Everybody believed it. Everybody stopped. And now, if you go to Russia, people are afraid of fasting, even 12 hours. Oh, this man died from fasting. Tell me, please, did he really die from fasting?
No.
No.
He died from breaking.
He did something stupid. He ate 13 hard-boiled eggs after 14-day, or 40-day water fast. The same with the high fever. Somebody did something really wrong, and then everybody assumed that, well, it's so dangerous when you have high fever. It's not dangerous. I went through that. When I went through that when I was a kid, it took me 2 weeks to recover because my mother was feeding me this boiled milk with honey and butter and who knows what else, and aspirin. And now it only took me 12 hours. and I felt better, and I could run, and I could do anything, and I had lots of energy. Please let us understand and appreciate our body. Somehow your body is managing to digest all the food, to sleep, to move, to blink, to do everything. Do you have to control your blinking and moving? Do you have to really make sure that this right kidney is sending this urine in the right direction? Do you have to do that? Do you have to tell your finger how to move and which tendon has to contract, which has to... Do you have to do that? No. Why we decide that sometimes we have to control the body? Well, I'm telling you, your body will do everything if you only let it. It is perfect. You heard the saying, nobody's perfect. Nobody is perfect, but the body is perfect. And if you only let it be, it will do for you whatever you only dream to be. It will make you cute and healthy if you let it be. When you have diarrhea, this is a blessing. That means that you have something in your system that is either lead or mercury or DDT or something really, really harmful. Asbestos or something that your body is happening to flush. Well, are we really praising our body for the diarrhea? Like timely and free colonic. No, usually we say, hey, I am deficient in Pepto-Bismol. And we stuff our poor body with poor system with this pink, gooey stuff. And then the mercury and DDT and whatever is leaving our body stays in. And we think, I'm so smart. Look at me. I had diarrhea. Now I don't have it anymore. Oh, how wonderful. Are we smart? So if we're so smart, why do we get sicker and sicker and sicker and less cute and less cute and less cute? If we just understand that what body is doing is important. Let's take asthma. My daughter had asthma since birth. She doesn't have it anymore. And I researched asthma. Asthma happens when people eat too much dairy or too much white flour things. The dairy creates very, very acidic mucus. If you ever let the sour milk go really acid, you'll see that it's so acid. If you put it on your hand, it will burn your hand. Very, very acidic. Like a chloric acid, really, really burning. So when this mucus gets in our lungs turn to become red scarlet red color. Our lungs don't have nerve ends, and when it hurts our lungs, we don't feel anything. Nothing. Just rest in peace. But our lungs are hurting. And they become, at some point, irritated by just oxygen, just the air. Just the airflow that comes in lungs make our lungs hurt. So then the lungs want to have a break from air. And they send the telegram to the brain, hey, create little slight spasm in our throat so that we have some break from breathing. And then people with asthma have spasm here. If only they exhale and wait for 60 seconds. If they exhale and count to 60 and then begin to shallow breathe, they won't have any asthmatic attack. It will be gone. So what do we do in reality when we have asthmatic attack? We try to oppositely breathe higher, harder. And then we took inhalers, and inhalers paralyze the ability of these muscles to spasm. And then when body needs a break from air, then they have to create spasm on deeper level. The bronchs begin to get into spasm. We take stronger inhalers. We fight the body. Body is stupid. We need to fix it. We inhale it. And then they get paralyzed. Then next time when the body needs this break, so that to survive, to be alive, it creates a spasm in lungs on itself. And then we die. If only we just stop eating dairy products, eat white flour, and whenever we have asthmatic attack, we just exhale and wait for 60 seconds. We'll never have asthmatic attack in our whole life. If you take any illness, any high blood pressure, when the body, when the head becomes clogged with undigested particles of proteins, animal proteins, then the body increases the pressure so that the blood continues to flow. That's what you do with your toilet. You apply the pressure. When it's clogged, you put potato peels in your toilet, it clogged, or your sink, you apply the pressure. That's what the body does. It applies the pressure. Yes, it hurts, but you don't die. You're not getting heart attack. You're not getting any stroke. And then we take medicine. There are several different things you could do with medicine when people have high blood pressure. You could take diuretics that will dehydrate your body, and you'll have arthritis instead. They could give you vitamin K, which will liquefy the blood, and it will make you bleeding, internal bleeding, which you would not be aware of, and you'll be bleeding and bleeding, you become anemic, another problem. Then they could give you the stuff that will make your blood vessels so flexible. If there are any hard pieces coming through, they'll just become flexible. Men instantly have impotence from that drug. Women have all kinds of problems. They begin kind of like all stretchy. And there are other stuff too. None of them addresses the problem. When people take those medicine, eventually they have stroke or heart attack. You open the encyclopedia, hypertension, you read there. People with hypertension have higher risk of stroke and heart attack. You know that. Why? Because they're not addressing the cause. So with every illness, take glasses. The more you're wearing glasses, the more you will have to increase the diopters. The less you wear glasses, the more you will see better. If you never wear glasses, you will stick to the best vision for the rest of your life. Is that what the optometrist tells you? No. Who benefits financially from that? Well, try to not wear glasses. Buy a strap and wear your glasses here. And only wear them when you have to drive or read. Otherwise, see in blur. Your body needs that message that you see in blur, so it knows that it needs to change. Right now, you send an incorrect message to your brain. Hey, I see clearly. Don't change. Calcify the spasm in my eyeballs. The dark glasses, what a great invention. Dark glasses. Thomas Quackenbush took 100 people in Florida. He put them on the shore, volunteers. 50 of them were wearing dark glasses. 50 were not wearing them. The ones that were wearing dark glasses had more sunburns. And then he figured out that 99% of receptors that get the sunshine located right here. The ones that recognize if it's a sunshine or not. And when we squint, then the body knows that there is sunshine. So when we put dark glasses on, then the message was, relax, it's a twilight. Wow. Don't bring the hormone to the skin that will protect you from sunburn. Still, you go on the beach, everybody is wearing glasses there. Now, this is the only part of the body that could assimilate vitamin D from the sunshine. Now, for some reason, it is illegal in the United States to have glasses without ultraviolet protection. So if you're wearing your glasses all the time, you're not letting your body eat vitamin D from the sunlight. As a result, you will become low in vitamin D in the body. As a result, you will feel irritation from sunshine, do you know that when you're irritated by sunlight, that means you lack vitamin D? And then you have to squint, and then you absolutely have to wear dark glasses. If you just put them aside and just leave one summer without dark glasses and just take as much as you can your glasses off, you'll be able to walk like this, and you won't have to squint. I didn't wear any dark glasses for maybe 7 years now. You cannot see any lines here. I don't ever squint. And I used to be white, so white, pale, anemic, that I always would have lines, even if I was wearing glasses. So you take anything, take the hair. They say
in Florida where
Listen, I live in Oregon. Twice a year I go to teach classes in Florida because I like to teach classes in Florida because the climate there is so beneficial. So I usually go in the fall. But last year we went there in the summer. It was August. From Oregon, we've been it was June. It was June. It was the hottest season. We flew from rainy Oregon straight to Sarasota. And the first day we were supposed just to assimilate to the time change, and we had day off. And the host said, come up with us. We're going on the river for the entire day. I'm taking my boat. So we spent all day in bathing suit in the water without even hat. All 4 of us. We didn't have no sunburn. From rainy Oregon straight to Sarasota. It's incredible. I used to burn from just 30 minutes in Moscow. Well, you just try it, you'll see it's true. Hair. They told us that the hair is a dead organ. And we believe them because we believe people with the titles after the names. They say that hair is a dead organ. We say, well, how could it be dead if it grows? Well, if they say, they know, and so okay. And then they say, it's dead organ, so do with it whatever you can. Whatever you want. Do perm, do curls, do purple color or gel, anything. Wash it with shampoo every single day. And we do that. But in reality, what is hair? Hair is a spiritual organ that protects us from negative energy and vibration, protects our brain, our chakra, crown chakra, protects our pituitary gland and hypothalamus from negative energy and radiation. What is that? It's a spiritual organ. When you have irritation in your body, when you're irritated, your hair wouldn't calm. Have you noticed that? It wouldn't stay. You try to calm it and it just... because the hair picks up the energy. It's protection. It's a buffer. It's here. It's nowhere else. It's just here. And they told us it's a dead organ. You can do anything you want with it. Now, what happens when we wash our hair with shampoo every day? By the way, I didn't wash my hair with shampoo for 6 years.
Ew, gross.
Thank you for your honesty. When you take this hair, it has a core, and there's very precious grease that the body has to create. You cannot buy this grease anywhere. Its body produces that and fills this. This grease is very special. It keeps your hair heavy, and it cannot pick any negative electricity static when it's normal, when it's healthy. The shampoo instantly removes the entire grease from the entire hair. And then if you ever wash it with the shampoo, but then don't wash it with the conditioner, have you ever tried what happens?
All dry.
Dry and itchy and kind of sticking in the air and like really don't feel good? You have to use conditioner. What's conditioner? Artificial grease made from crude oil, synthetic. Instantly picks up static electricity, really causing harm to the brain, keeping negative energy around your head, and making your hair split. And the hair is pushing it out. And so within 1 day, this is gone, and you have to do it again and again and again. You're trapped now. You cannot stop because it will go like this. My friend Debbie Boyce in Canada, it's Rose's friend too. She created the shampoo that I use now. You want a recipe?
Yeah.
2 teaspoons of flaxseed. Soak it in the blender overnight in the same amount of water, like maybe 2 tablespoons of flax, 2 tablespoons of water. In the morning, blend it. That's a shampoo. That's it. It'll even.
You blend it with the water.
Yeah.
Say tablespoon or teaspoon?
Oh, whatever. It's just equal amount of flax and water. And if you like to add aloe vera to this or anything else for flavor, it's up to you. It's also the best shaving cream. No irritation. Every 3 days it will spoil. You have to make new one. But it takes just a minute to make. And your body is getting used to create extra grease because you're degreasing it every day. So not to have this grease, you'll have to put some flour in your hair. Otherwise it will itch. And in about a month, it will stabilize and come to harmony, and then you'll have shiny hair without any shampoo. And those people who manufacture shampoo will have some loss.
So your hair will get greasier as
At first.
Say
At
you're
first.
just using the flax shampoo that you're making. Then
They-
your hair will get greasier, and then you need to put flour in
It might not. It depends on different people, but some people it might experience really greasy hair because the body is trapped.
Yeah.
It produces this fat, which is, you can use it for different reasons in the body. It's not a good thing to do. I don't have even one single split hair already for years and years. And healthy hair is something you wake up in the morning, you can shake your hand and go and look acceptable. How many of us can have that? We have to spend 30 minutes in the bathroom every morning doing things. I don't anymore, but during the first month, you just put some flowers so it doesn't look greasy. You wash your hair with this shampoo that I just told you how to make flaxseed shampoo. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
My cousin was diagnosed with lupus.
Lupus.
And she,
John, you talk to John. He used to have it. He was on this disability, and now he wants to stay a little longer on disability because he needs to finish his work. And doctor says, "Hey, I cannot." He said, "You have to pretend sick now." He said, "Please give me another 6 months. I need to finish." And he says, "I cannot. You're too healthy. Don't have lupus anymore." So
she wants to change her diet. Because she was over and saw me fixing fruit smoothies for breakfast, and she wanted to know, would a healthy lifestyle, changing her diet, help her lupus?
absolutely.
She doesn't know where to go or what to do.
Well, here you are.
I can go through it later after you're done.
Isn't he great? It's so easy to love him. Questions? Sally.
How do you recommend for those going through the program to come off like the medicine that they've been on for a while?
You have to find a doctor who is open-minded. How do you tell if your doctor is open-minded? The doctors give a oath. They cannot tell you you can do raw food. They cannot say that. They'll lose their license instantly. You don't even know. They're in harder situations than you are. The open-minded doctors, they invented secret language that you need to learn and understand. The secret language is, I don't know what you're doing, and I don't want to know what you're doing, but it helps you. Keep doing that. Those doctors are the one you want to go to.
Yes.
Did you hear that secret language before? Yes. So share those doctors with you. Let them have more clients. And let's thank them, and they are the ones who really understand and want to be conscious. And so then you come to them and say, I'm doing something for me, which is, how do you call it, alternative. And can you tell me if I can reduce my medication? They check your blood, they check your urine, whatever they need to check, measure, and then they say, well, I can reduce it by such and such. Usually it takes 6 months to a year to get off most of medication, but don't just abruptly stop it. You create a havoc in your body. Your body has adjusted to your medication. Yes.
Does that apply to a lot of people on medications for depression?
Yes.
And I've heard that this diet helps people who are depressed.
Absolutely it helps. Absolutely.
So,
We have 2 hormones in our system, male and female, progesterone and estrogen. When we are children, we have very good balance. But then as we live, we use up progesterone, and we begin to have too high estrogen. Estrogen, when it's too high, when it's higher than progesterone, causes depression, osteoporosis, cancer, a lack of oxygen. So whenever we eat cooked food, our body creates extra estrogen. When you eat raw food, your depression goes away, your mood goes up. It's absolutely scientific fact. Estrogen is raised by any toxins in the body, by any foreign matter in the body. Estrogen goes up. Hitler mixed estrogen with the food of prisoners of concentration camps because he wanted them to feel depressed so they don't revolt against him. And I read fantastic information that some doctors prescribe estrogen to some women as a replacement therapy.
Yeah.
I wonder why. I mean, you have today question everything, and you have to rely only on one person in the world, who is who? Yourself. You can do it. If I could do it, you could do it. Yes.
Just one more question. Our stepfather has spinal stenosis, and I haven't been able to find anything that would help. Do you think doing something like
Raw
this would it be
food
good?
helps everything. Absolutely. Because raw food is just, it's not something, it's not a medicine. It's just a step towards being healthy. It's a step towards cooperating with the body. If somebody is walking really, hiking up the hill and having 50-pound box on his shoulders, do you think taking 50% of his weight off will help that person to reach the mountain? And you could say, well, this one has the mole on the left hand, and it helped him when I took this extra load from off his shoulders. But this one has it on the right foot. Maybe it wouldn't help him. It will help with any illness, whatever you call it, because it's taking load off your body. Eating raw food, not eating cooked food, is the one that helps. Yes?
What about B12 deficiency?
I don't take no supplements. I don't take no vitamins. People who overeat needs to take supplements.
Well, no, I'm told that B12 is manufactured by your body, and that you can't get it from
But
any
I do.
source.
Well, see, I supposed to, scientifically, I supposed to already have nervous breakdown because I didn't eat any animal food for 9.5 years. I supposed to, long time ago, look like I'm completely sick. Am I looking like I'm sick?
Well, no, but I haven't eaten meat for 30 years. I mean,
So-
and I was low on B12, and my doctor, who's from India, told me that I should either eat meat or take supplements.
Well, I don't take supplements, and I don't have deficiency in vitamin
Well,
B12.
your body can produce it, but how do we know if our bodies are healthy
When you
enough
feel
to
good, you
produce
know
it?
that your body is producing it.
Well, yes, but it's very dangerous to be low and deficient in B12. It affects the nervous system.
I think it's very
the
dangerous to
memory.
eat French fries.
I do too, but I just wondered if you had
Well,
an opinion of that.
I really try to avoid answering questions in the manner like, if you have this, you need to take that. If you have this, I really try to avoid that because this is a misleading path. Well, I could tell you that I don't have enough information to answer that question all the way, but I could tell you what I know. Those who are breastfed, like a year, they don't have to worry. They have enough B12 for their entire life. Those of us who was not breastfed, they would have deficiency of B12. And there are products that have B12 in them. For example, yeast, nutritional yeast has B12. Like my daughter, I only breastfed her for 1.5 months. I was so ill, I couldn't breastfeed. So she once in a while has deficiency. She feels strongly craving for nutritional yeast. And even I don't like that product, I don't care for it. She would eat it, like a teaspoon of it. Keep going, and she doesn't. Sea vegetables have vitamin B12. There are some foods, raw foods, that have vitamin B12. Fermented foods all have vitamin B12, B6, B12, just B vitamins. And this is enough sources. And good bacteria in your intestines produces vitamin B12.
What about wine?
Wine? What about wine? When we don't follow our spiritual mission, then we need something to pamper us. On raw food, we forget all about wine because our life is so wonderful. Well, some raw fooders drink wine. I don't want to play with the fire, especially I came from that country where everybody's drinking. Wine has also alcohol in it. I just had so hard time getting off one addiction, I don't want to play with the fire. But if you really feel like, if I could drink wine, I could be raw, well, I would rather see you on raw food with wine than on cooked food without wine. So you just see what you can do. But the wine is supposedly raw, but it has 200 chemicals in it.
Do you think of like, a lot of people say, well, if you're like 80% raw and you have steamed vegetables sometimes, and
Yeah.
You know, a little tofu or something.
I think that anybody who is consciously trying to increase raw food intake, I would consider those raw fooders. Even if you eat 50% raw, 50 cooked, I would consider you raw fooder if you're consciously trying to eat as much as you can. But it's just plainly easy to be 100% raw. It's like trying to quit cigarettes slowly. There are different ways to quit smoking. And one of the ways is just reducing 1 cigarette per day. You know that it almost doesn't work for anybody. Or like, can you go become sober 90%? I'm 90% sober. I only drink shot of vodka every other day. But I'm 90% sober. Well, does it make sense? We're talking here addiction. If you really find somebody who says, I'm 80% raw, I'm on Hallelujah diet. Well, Hallelujah diet does lots of good preparation. I love to come to Sarasota in Florida because they all been on Hallelujah diet for 2-3 years. They're really ready to listen to me. They just go raw like a piece of raw cake. But really, if you get them alone when nobody can hear you and ask them honestly, so how much raw and how much cook you eat? They say, I try hard to eat 80% raw, but actually I'm 80% cooked, 20% raw. And how do you do that? How do you do this? Well, some people do lunch is raw, dinner is cooked. Then you can say it's 50-50, which is already big change. But how do you say? Whenever you eat cooked food, your body will be demanding cooked first, and then if there's a little spare space, they'll take a slice of mango.
What about wintertime? It's hard, isn't it?
In wintertime, what about wintertime? Wintertime, we're supposed to eat more nuts, more seeds, sleep more, and do less work. In the summertime, we're supposed to move more, exercise more, eat more fruit, and almost no nuts. Can't you tell from nature, from weather, God turns the light earlier in the wintertime?
So go to bed early. So your eating time is like you're done eating at 3 because it's dark by 5.
Yeah. You're so good.
I teach school, and so I know when I get home from school.
Sure, yeah.
It's late.
Yeah.
So if you're done eating by 3, then you're going to be in bed. You know, after you go home and do your nightly routine, you'll be in bed by 8 or 9. So in the morning, what do you eat for breakfast in the wintertime? People are accustomed to eating hot oatmeal.
Okay, make raw meal.
Raw oatmeal. What do you have?
Oatmeal
Do you
actually
take
is
to
raw.
lunch or school? What do I have my kids take to lunch?
Well, listen, there are so many things you can take to school. I always tried, when my kids went to school, tried to make their lunch look so good so they won't feel deprived in front of other kids. So I simply would take orange or tangerine and I'll peel it and separate those pieces, put them in a nice cute Ziploc bag. And then I will take pieces of raisins and pieces of walnuts and put them in nice Ziploc bags. So they usually have a package of different cute little things there. So when they come, they put them around, it looks very, very fancy. And I will even buy them a bottle of water that has some picture of waterfall in the back. It's really important how it looks. And then pomegranate, I'll just open it up. January, pomegranate season. Every day, pomegranates, they look so beautiful. So they come at school, they sit there at the lunch cafeteria and eat those pomegranates. Everybody's saying, what's that? What is that? It's a pomegranate. Pomegranate? Where do you get it? Just in a Safeway? I've never seen that before. It's in the produce section. Oh, we never shop there. Can I try a little piece? Well, here. Next day, Sergey said, Mom, can you give me 2 pomegranates? I said, you like them? He said, no, I have to feed one for my friends, one for me. Now they eat my lunch for me.
What about colon therapy?
Colon therapy? Oh, recently I was telling that I don't think it's a good idea. I found 10 years ago I went through very, very negative experience, and I didn't know it was negative. I thought it was normal with the colon hydrotherapy. The therapist was not very knowledgeable. The equipment was not very good, and it kept coming up in my life. And finally, my very good friend said, we have such a great colon hydrotherapist, and she's living forever. She's leaving town in one month. Why don't you try? And I said, well, I really don't I have such a bad memory. And I went there because she had special, $25. I went there. I loved it. Well, I just did 6 colonics. She said my colon is clear. She said, I never told it to anybody in my whole life, but your colon is clear. But my skin became softer. And I didn't do anything else. So I guess somehow it helped me too. So I would say it's personal. I think maybe once a year I'll do 2 colonics. Once a year, that's enough. But I wouldn't do it heavily like every week. So you just see, and you have to find really good therapists who is knowledgeable, they know what they're doing, they don't push any supplements on you. They really, you just kind of buy equipment from them for an hour and do it yourself. It's just like, this kind of equipment. Yes?
Thank you. My mother is 100% raw, but she drinks tea, and I don't know if I can drink tea, because I don't know if it's raw. If you boil water and put the herbs.
It changes the structure of water, one, and then it's very hot. We unfortunately trained our mouth to withstand very high temperatures, which is very, very bad. The mercury from our fillings will leak in the system only when you eat warm food. When you eat raw food, cold food, don't worry about the mercury. You can damage yourself more when you take the mercury out than when you keep it there. But unless you eat cold food, if you eat hot food, every time you eat hot food, warm food, it leaks into your system. Also, warm water is ruining enamel. When you loosen your teeth, hot water. Why don't you make some tea? Nothing that easier. You go in your garden, pick up any mint or I don't say chamomile. Yeah, chamomile, St. John's wort. You just put it in the water, leave it on the sunny windowsill for 6 hours. It turns bronze color. Add a teaspoon of honey there if you like. Drink that sun tea. Make it warm by putting it over the pot with hot water. Yes, please.
I've talked to a number of people with Crohn's disease, and I'm told, of course, that this can help and all, but they say they can't eat raw foods, or I've met other people who say they can't tolerate raw foods.
Okay, Crohn's disease. We're lucky to have Dave Klein. Dave Klein is the editor of the magazine Living Nutrition. I don't know how many, maybe 10 years ago, he was desperately ill with Crohn's disease. The doctor told him he cannot eat anything raw, anything fresh. He was dying. He had a very, very advanced stage of that. And then somebody told him that raw food could heal him. And he decided he's going to try different things, and if he's going to cure himself, he's going to write a book. So he did very extensive research. He would eat one thing, it would work, he would eat another one. He knows all the pros and cons. He has published a book. That is the best book existing today on Crohn's disease, which absolutely gives you answers to every question. It's kind of expensive. He only published like 200 of them himself. When you go and publish in Kinko's, it's expensive. But it's available. It's precious. Dave Klein, livingnutrition.com. And tell him hi from Victoria. Well, I'm so glad that he exists and I could send everybody with Crohn's disease to him because I never had Crohn's disease. Yes.
Did you say that means leaving?
Living nutrition. Not dying, but living. Yes. Grains? Okay. You can find somebody who will be against absolutely every single food. Somebody against fruit, somebody against vegetables because they're hybrids, somebody against mushrooms because they're fungi, somebody against nuts because they're heavy and don't digest, somebody against dry fruit like dates, somebody against seaweed because it's undigestible, somebody against sprouts because they're so toxic that they create toxins so animals cannot eat them while they're still gentle. Somebody is against green leafy vegetables because they all come from an opium family and very toxic. And somebody against citruses because they cause arthritis. Somebody against nightshades. Somebody against grains because they cause brain damage. And did I miss anything? And then you have nothing left to eat. I think raw food is hard enough on its own. What is legal to eat on raw food? Fruits, vegetables, nuts, seeds, grains. That's very limited already. And if you begin to follow any raw food gurus, maybe that's good for somebody who written that book, but not for everyone. Then you won't be able to stay. You'll have to become a breatharian. If you read all of these books and do whatever they say, and they're great books, they have scientific background, you'll become breatharian. Do you know what it is? Just breathe in the air. But can you be breatharian in this polluted planet? No. So you have to break some of those rules. I think your body will let you know. For example, the body is very, very fluctuating, and you have to go with the flow. For example, when you're eating cooked food, you lack fats. You lack fats. You don't have enough fats. Even if you look obese, or maybe even more so, you need fats. You need lipase, the fat enzyme, because all the nuts and seeds that we eat are roasted. All the oils are refined. All the cheeses are pasteurized. Milk and butter is pasteurized. We don't ever receive any raw fat. And our body is begging us for raw fat. So when you will be becoming raw, you'll notice that you absolutely thrive on fats. You never really cared for avocados. Suddenly you'll be eating 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 avocados a day, and lots of oil and lots of nuts and But then, what happens then? Imagine you didn't paint your house for 100 years. All the paint has peeled off, looks ugly and gray. How much paint will you need to fix it? Maybe 5 buckets. But after you painted it all, how much do you need? A little bit, once a year, once a month, just to fix. That's the same with the fat. When you penetrated your body needs, in fact, when we eat cooked fat, the cooked fat and animal fat looks like a horseshoe. And the raw fat and fat from vegetable looks like a rod. So within the first several months of going raw, all the horseshoes are replaced with rods. Your fat content changes. And after this process is done, you actually need to reduce fat, almost to the minimum. But we already has been set this as a precedent. We already set it as adjustment. We already decided, well, I felt so good on 6 avocados, and since the beginning I should keep going. That's what works for me. Listen, body is not a rock. It keeps moving, it keeps changing every time. And we have to listen, see the change, be alert, and go with the flow. So what to do? If you begin to feel weak on raw food diet, if you begin to experience like you suddenly feel so tired, you need to take a nap. Have you ever had this happening? Yes. You eating too much fat. Take a rest for 5 days from fat. For 5 days, eat just plain cucumbers, watermelons, cabbage, tomatoes, raspberries, no fat, no avocados, no oil, no nuts, no yummy nut butters, no tahini, no garbanzo beans, no crackers. It's hard. But after 5 days, you begin to introduce fats into your body, you will be shocked. You eat a sliver of avocado, you'll feel heavy. You'll put several drops of oil and you'll have to throw away your salad. It's too greasy for you. Your body will set up new level now of how much nuts you need to have. If you won't do that, you will develop candida. Candida happens not of too much sugar, but of too much oil. See how bodies are constantly moving. What's good for one stage is not good for another. And then sometimes in the winter you'll be needing some more nuts. And sometimes you'll get in the habit of eating them again, so you'll need to fast again. Fasting is always when you cannot say, but you cannot tell what you really want. For example, sometimes you feel like, I really don't know what I need to eat. Fast for 1 day or for half day on water, on juices. Become hungry and your body will tell you right away what you need to eat. Does it make sense? This is how it is. There is no answer that will fit everybody. Like this person just went on raw food, this person has been on raw food 6 months, and they'll ask me, how many avocados should I eat? What is the answer? You should eat 6, you should eat none. So please be alert. Don't listen to anybody. One more thing. Get rid of the fear. This fear doesn't belong to us. We, from birth, we don't have no fear. This fear has been brought to us by authorities and governments and some religions, the fear of death, because we shouldn't have fear of death. Because we're afraid of death, we don't live our life. We constantly limit ourselves with choices because we have this fear of death. Until you have fear, people can manipulate you. They could say, if you don't take this supplement, you're going to die. And horror. So when you don't have fear, you say, well, I'm not afraid to die. And maybe you will live in much better. I will tell you something. I read a very thick book written by one Russian researcher just recently, and it's about suicide. And he, in this book, he went to Japan, and he spent several years in Japan. And in Japan, there are samurais who commit suicide if they don't like something. You cannot manipulate samurai. Because the government would tell them, hey, we're going to rise the taxes now. Samurais step forward, they say, we're going to create harakiri now. And the government said, no. It's okay. We know. Japan for several centuries had the lowest taxes, the most loyal government because of those samurais. And in India, they had this resistance that they will just stop eating. When Mahatma Gandhi, they would just fast on water. Say, okay, we're going to, all of us, hundreds of thousands, if English will not live in India, we're going to all fast on water. We're going to die from being hungry. They said, okay, we're living. Because people are so hard to manipulate when they are not afraid of death, then Catholic Church in time of the Inquisition created, it was not in the Bible, created this punishment for suicide. People said, well, who cares? I'll be dead anyways. No. You'll be in hell for the rest of the times. And say, and your family, we will punish your family. When you do this, your whole family will be thrown to jail. Your children will be, beaten to death. So they created punishment and implemented in people's brain that says people were afraid now. Guess what? In the time of Inquisition in Europe, there was the highest rate of suicide. Because life was so unbearably hard. Because taxes were high, Inquisition was horrible, everybody lived in fear. Get rid of fear. Begin to understand that we are spirits. We don't die. And we're spiritual beings. And death is just, I don't know. We all have to go through that.
Changing clothes.
Well, whatever everybody's belief is, but we shouldn't really do anything from the fear. It's a wrong reason it's a wrong motivation. Thanks to my research, thanks to thinking and talking sincerely with my husband, I lost almost completely fear of death, even of death for my close ones, my loved ones. Because I understand that we don't die. It takes you to lose some of your close people. When I lost my father, mother, and twice almost lost my dog, I started to really see that we don't die. We just go somewhere. And that's a great feeling. It's so given me such a comfort. Okay.
I know we're supposed to eat organics, but organics is very limited in a lot of areas. Can our body, if we do raw and taking so much pesticides, can our body get rid of that? Or
Well, it's best to eat raw inorganic than French fries inorganic. It's best to whatever you can. Raw is still the number one important. However, you may be limited from whole foods. Maybe it's good that you don't have so many whole foods and wild oats here because you have your local farmers. And this is your source. This is so much better than Whole Foods. Whole Foods is so convenient. You go, you buy it there, but it's going to be always forever expensive because Whole Foods comes from California, Florida. They have to drive it for weeks. It's expensive for them to serve it to you. Your farmers, they would love to give it to you for the 1/10 of that price. The more you support your farmers, the more they will grow for you, the cheaper it will be. Go find farmers, make a deal with them, say, let's do organic, let's buy from you. We're gonna buy 100 heads of lettuce from you every week. They'll love it. They'll supply you organic apples and grapes and everything. You have the best Concord grapes here in this area. We cannot have enough of it. Local farmers is really what you want. You can find it organic. Just do the best you can, but if you cannot, sometimes I eat non-organic.
You just made another comment to the lady about oat milk being raw.
It's actually raw.
Is it not
When I was
which
teaching
one?
class in Quebec, in Montreal, the millers came to my class. The whole family, they're millers. They manufacture rolled oats. A woman and a man and their son, they came to me, they said, actually good news, rolled oats are not cooked. Because oats have the highest level of enzyme breakdown, temperature, highest temperature. The enzymes in oats break at 150, and they only hit them to 135. We used to think that it's cooked, but they say no, there's still enzymes, still life in them. I said, hooray! It's so wonderful, at least for transition.
So, but that has to be because when I talked to the manufacturer, because I ran into one of the organic stores are selling the cereals raw, so I called their manufacturer, and it's 212 degrees. So I wonder if it.
Well, it has to be organic, conscious manufacturer. Their machines only hit it to 150, 135. Yes.
How about eating with the seasons? What do you do in the winter?
Well, mostly I crave seasonal things. I don't crave raspberries in the middle of the winter. Mostly it's seasonal. Yes, it is. We do crave more nuts in the winter and more fruits in the summer. That's true. When do you crave most green salads? In May and April. Then in October you almost don't care. Then when do you crave most of heirloom tomatoes? July, August. And where do you crave your apples? You don't care for apples in June and July, in the winter. So it's usually seasonal.
What do you do? Do you eat roots, vegetables?
What?
Do you eat a lot of root vegetables in the winter? Or?
Yes, I do eat root vegetables in the winter.
What about if you live in a climate, Florida, for example, South Florida, where we have 1 week of winter, the rest is summer?
Well, there are too many of us, and we cannot live anymore where we're supposed to live. But I believe, from my observation, that we belong to tropics because we have naked body, and the temperature of our blood is the temperature of the tropics. If we would be supposed to live in Alaska, we would have temperature of polar bears, and they have lower temperature of blood than we do. Does it make sense to us? Okay.
Yes.
But there are too many of us. We cannot fit in tropics anymore. So our body does miracles and adjusts us to different climates. So that's okay to jet fly fruits to Alaska and Canada. That's okay because we just don't fit anymore to tropics. I went to Iceland. In Iceland, I had 70 people in my class. It's very close to the polar circle. They have 6 months of darkness every year. Nothing grows there. They have lots of ice and just grass. That's all they have. Everything jet flight. Well, what should I do there? Should I say, hey guys, you have to immigrate to San Diego? They say, no, this is my motherland. That's why I belong. I only speak Icelandic language. So you have to do whatever you have to do. But in Florida, you're so blessed.
What do they eat there? They just eat stuff thrown in there, right?
They do eat raw fish there. Yeah, they eat sprouts, and they do eat raw fish. They just don't have much choice. But they kind of have to. But if they'll move, they won't have to.
For athletes and bodybuilders, what
Okay, for athletes, I'll ask my husband to tell what to do. Come here. Что делать атлетам и спортсменам? I'll translate for him.
Раньше я тоже думал, что чтобы быть сильным, нужно кушать много белка, протеина.
I used to think that in order to be strong, I had to eat lots of protein.
Я кушал много протеина.
And I tried to eat more and more protein to become stronger.
Мне делали много-много операций.
And I had 18 surgeries on my body.
И я сильно глубоко болел.
I was strongly sick.
И дошел до предела, что мне оставалось жить совсем несколько месяцев.
I came to the point when doctor said you wouldn't live long enough now. Much longer.
Жизнь меня приперла к стене, и я стал кушать сырую еду.
I was in a deadly corner, didn't have choice, and I started to eat, out of desperation, started to eat raw food.
Через несколько недель со мной начали случаться чудеса.
In a few weeks, the miracles began to happen with me.
В первую очередь, 5 человек, которые помогали мне в моем бизнесе, потеряли работу.
5 people who worked for me were fired.
Я стал справляться один за 5.
Now I was able to do all the work by myself.
Я в течение 2 месяцев потерял лишние 50 паундов.
I lost 50 extra pounds.
Мой бешеный пульс, который был 150 ударов в минуту, стал 64 удара.
I used to have 150 pulse, now it became 64.
Мои дрожащие руки стали ровными.
I used to have shaky hands, my hands started to be firm.
Моя страшная шишка на горле исчезла.
My thyroid, hyperthyroid went away.
Мой страшный артрит, когда у меня руки не двигались, стали как у 12-летнего мальчика двигаться.
My rheumatoid arthritis went away.
И что сейчас? И что? Сейчас потом. И
Нет,
что?
сейчас.
Я подожди, не голодаю. И что удивительно, моя сила и выносливость возросла в десятки раз.
My endurance and my energy grew thousands of times.
Я когда мне подарили вот 2 такие отжималки.
Last year I got these push-up bars for birthday.
Я 30 лет их не брал в руки.
For 30 years I didn't do push-ups.
Я помню, когда я был юношей, я на этих отжималках упражнялся
When I was a young man,
и
I was 17 years old,
хотел побить рекорд за один раз отжаться 100 раз.
I was practicing really hard, trying to make 100 push-ups in one
Я
set.
очень хотел и очень упорно тренировался.
I was working really hard, but I could never do it.
Но я только делал за 3 раза 100 раз.
And I could only do 30 push-ups.
И когда 100 раз я делал, последние разы у меня руки тряслись, и я делал.
And usually my last push-ups, I will be all shaky and achy.
И после 100 раз я не мог час ничего делать.
And if I do 100 push-ups within 3 times, for 1 hour, I couldn't even hold a spoon in my
И
hand.
потом 2 дня мое тело болело, и мне нужно было отдыхать.
And then my body was hurting after that.
И вот мне подарили через 30 лет 2 такие
So
штуки.
30
Я
years
подумал,
later, they gave me those for my birthday.
сколько я могу на них сделать?
I was wondering, how many times can I do push-ups?
Раз мне их подарили, надо попробовать.
Because I got them, I need to use them now.
5 раз или 10 раз.
I was thinking maybe I can do 5 push-ups.
Ну, конечно же, я не сумасшедший, я же не могу больше сделать, чем когда мне было 17 лет, когда мне стало 50.
Well, I understand I cannot make more than when I was 17.
Я же не упражнялся 30 лет.
Plus, I didn't
И вот я их
practice.
положил на пляже во Флориде.
So in Florida, I went
Обливал на руки.
to the lonely place where nobody could see
У
me.
меня было время.
And we had plenty of time between
И я
classes.
начал на них отжиматься.
And I started to do push-ups.
Я начал делать.
Nine,
Я
10,
с абсолютной
11,
легкостью делал.
12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18.
Я делал 1,5 часа.
After 1.5 hours, my wife came and said, we need to go.
Я сделал 1000 движений.
I made 1,000 push-ups and I could do more.
И рассердился на мою жену, потому что я не дошел до
I
предела.
was angry at my wife.
Я когда делал 1000 раз, 1000-й раз, я был еще более свежий, чем я начинал.
I didn't reach my limit yet.
Это противоречит всем тому, что я знаю.
That was against any logic, any laws that I learned so far.
Это противоречит то, что вы знаете.
I couldn't understand why
Почему это произошло?
I was able to do so.
Я не упражнялся.
I didn't practice
Я
all
только
these years.
кушал сырую
I
еду.
only ate raw food.
Вика показывает обычно маленький одноминутный фильм
And then we participated in research.
про кровь людей, которые кушают вареную еду, и кровь, которую люди кушают сырую еду.
We were taking people's blood and looking at the microscope before and after they eat cooked food.
Когда люди кушают вареную еду, хотя маленький кусочек картошки,
And when people
вареной,
eat even little piece of cooked food,
кровь, красные кровяные тельца, несущие кислород, слипаются вместе.
the red blood cells will stick together like a long sausage.
И происходит коллапс и шок во всем моем организме.
And they cannot carry oxygen anymore to different parts of the body.
Происходит коллапс в моих мозгах.
Then we have a collapse.
Я не могу концентрироваться, не могу учиться. Да, ага.
Victoria should speak louder so the tape can get her
Вот.
too.
Да. Когда я кушаю сырую еду,
So when I eat raw food,
мои красные кровяные тельца отделены друг от
the
друга.
red blood cells are circulating.
И они несут огромное количество камней кислорода.
They bring so much oxygen to all my muscles.
И я даже выполняю движение,
So when I am exercising,
но у меня столько много кислорода в
my
крови,
body brings more oxygen to
что
my
я успеваю
muscles.
восстанавливаться.
Then it refreshes me before I even get tired.
И люди, которые имеют смертельные болезни, артрит, тироид и другие диабет,
People who have deadly illnesses like arthritis, diabetes, thyroid,
им ничего не нужно делать.
they don't need to do anything.
Организм все сам делает.
The body will do everything for you.
Организм очищает с помощью кислорода наше тело.
The body will clean your body with the help of oxygen.
Вот такой интересный случай со мной произошел.
That's what I wanted to tell you about endurance.
И это принадлежит всем людям.
This knowledge belongs to everyone.
Нужно только изменить свою привычку.
You just have to change your behavior.
Но это самое трудное.
But that's the most difficult.
Может, ради этого мы пришли в эту жизнь.
Maybe that's why you came to this life.
But if you're actually, but if you're doing a long workout or something where you're going for several days on a race or something, how do you eat at that point in time? It's not the same.
The same.
I thought I was trying to exercise and I got wiped out.
When we went on a 6-month hike, we hiked from Mexican border to Canadian border. We were eating, 80% of our food was foraging, eating wild edibles. We ate so little. Each one of the kids gained 11 pounds average. Most people on the trail were eating M&Ms and gallons of ice cream and just very heavy caloric food, and they lost so much weight. Some of them had to leave the trail, and we were gaining weight. We were eating so little.
But I'm at the beginning of just trying this out. I'm in my 3rd or 4th month, and I have to do something very strenuous.
3rd and 4th
activity.
month, you're already a veteran.
Already veteran.
Yep.
I feel weak. If I don't eat correctly when I'm exercising, I can get wiped out.
You only you can know if you eat correctly or not.
Okay.
She's on 3-4 months on raw food. She says I'm just in the beginning. It's not the beginning already. Your body already adjusted to it. You already passed the hill. 2 months is the first 2 months is really hard. If you stay 2 months 100% raw, after that it's much easier.
I understand what you say about not forcing the raw food diet down other people's throats. But you also forced your children to do this because they were so ill. I am considering the same thing with my son.
Not exactly.
I'm going to have to drag him to the bed and chain him there and starve him to death to get him to do this.
No, I didn't force them. It didn't work. When I was forcing them, they were hiding under the bed, and they didn't want. They were cheating at school, and they just didn't do it. Although I found out that something was going wrong. I started to use several different things. I was using subliminal messages. One day I put around the house comics and jokes, and especially in the bathroom across from the stool. And I was doing it several days, and my children got in the habit of reading those. And they would come to me and they say, "Oh, this was really funny joke in there." And then I started to put raw food quotes in between them. And because they used to reading everything there, they would read, all the cereal consists of 80% white sugar. White sugar totally do this and that, wipes your body of energy. Little things. They're not stupid. When they read that, it ministers to their brain. And they come and say, "You've been eating me cereal all my life every morning." They would come to me and tell me, and I would just say, "Really? Wow, what can we do instead?" And another thing I did, I went to the garage sale and I saw they were selling blender and processor. And I already had Vitamix, I already had processor. It was really good deal, and I decided I'm going to buy it for my children. So I came home, I washed it, I put it in the chlorine, and I put a bow on the side. And I said, "I have a gift for you." She was 8, he was 9. They were not allowed to use scissors yet. And I gave them spinning plates. I said, "Guys, here's a Ziploc bag of bananas. I'm going to teach you how to make smoothie. You put a cup of water and 1 banana. Just make sure the lid is on. Push that button. Voila, you have a smoothie." The only condition is whatever you produce, whatever you manufacture, you have to consume. Or you can share it with your friends. I wanted them to be popular with their friends. And they started to become creative. Well, I just gave them bananas and water. Pretty soon there was mint on the table, there was a mint banana smoothie, there was strawberry, there was something else, there was blackberry from the backyard, there was some different things. That was a really good thing. And then I bought them this really round dehydrator. They burst into cookies, and that made them feel like they are doing that. I made them present in front of my friends, showing how to make a cookie. That made them feel confident. Well, sometimes I'll ask them to read loud to me back some of the books. I started to spend 1 hour every day with them, listening to their, especially I will emphasize any positive input from raw food. When they will say, and Sergey will say, my math teacher has been diagnosed with diabetes, and he was asking me where did I buy my blood sugar monitor. He really liked it, and I was thinking, Mom, maybe I could sell it to him. Because he said it really doesn't make any sense to poke my finger every day anymore, because my blood sugar now is a normal frame. It's never high anymore. Well, I will emphasize. I said, wow, Sergey, this is wonderful. Oh, sure, sell it to him. And you can buy something, you can buy attachment to your blender. Well, you can go and buy lots of raspberries and make another smoothie. I will emphasize any kind of, well, they make discoveries from their own self. For a very long time, I couldn't figure out how to do this, because when I preach, they don't get it. They have to discover it. And Valia would say, usually I couldn't run even just like when I count to 10, and I already would have choking. And now I ran a quarter mile around the football field, and I didn't choke. I said, wow, you really did it? Why do you think it happened? She said, is it because of raw food? And I said, oh, sure, I think that's because of raw food. What else did you do different? No, nothing. I just changed the dress. Nothing else. Well, dress wouldn't do it. So what happened? Raw food. So raw food, when you do eat raw food, you don't choke? Well, this is interesting. Do you have any other girls in school who have asthma? Then I had parents call me and complain their children refused from eating their pizza. I didn't just chain them. It doesn't work. With children, it doesn't work.
I haven't done that yet. I've just let him go. He sees what we're eating.
Well, they didn't have much choice, but I tried to make the choice nice and palatable and beautiful. And once in a while, whenever I can afford it, I'll take them out to the juice bar. I think it's a very good idea, because in juice bar, the people are very health conscious. So I put them in a tall chair, and I just say, here's the menu, order. And they order any smoothie they like, any juice they like, mega veggie, something, you know. And I order myself grasshopper, which is wheatgrass with the carrot juice. And they order whatever they want. And they sit there drinking that, talking to other people. And people in juice bar, oh, guys, you enjoying that? They say, yeah, we've been already on raw food for 6 months. And they say, really? You fell? So whatever you can. And then I go to some Asian store and I bring some funny looking fruits at Asian market, jackfruits or something that nobody knows what it is. And I bring it home. I have a treat. We never had that treat when we were eating cooked food. So we have treats. Just make it interesting.
What about food combining? Eating foods in one plate.
You cannot. You don't know how to swim in a week. Can you be an Olympic swimmer? Can you? No. How long will it take you from not being able to swim and become Olympic swimmer, Olympic winner? Years. Can you in one day go on raw food, begin to combine properly, stop eating salt, sleep on a hard surface, wear only sandals, sleep outside, and do everything? So wearing glasses, don't wash your hair with shampoo. There are so many things. First, just try to stay raw. And then you'll notice, when you combine too many things, you kind of feel heavy. So you will want to combine less. In 2 years, you'll be combining perfectly. You'll be eating only what feels good. And it will be slightly different from person to person. Well, I believe that it's important, but you cannot be perfect right away. It takes time. Combining cooked food is much worse than combining raw food.
What about some people who, from time to time, want to have a small amount of something, but the most of it is raw, and from time to time have a piece of chicken?
You're playing with the fire. From time to time, you want to eat a piece of cooked food and then keep going. You're playing with the fire. Call your sponsor. Say, I want to eat a little piece of that. And listen to your
Why is
sponsor.
it playing with fire, though?
You're playing with fire because it's addiction. It's like you quit taking cocaine and you've been clean for 6 months, and then you will just take a little bit and then you keep going. Please understand, cooked food is an addiction. It will not let you go. Even you seemingly could do fine. When you will have your little piece of something, then your brain, which is tool of addiction, will say, well, you screwed it up anyways. Why don't you as well try everything else?
What about if you really could? Is the issue the fact that you'll go back to the addiction, or the issue the fact that you won't, that you'll, what if you could? It's in theory.
It won't hurt your health so much, but it will bring the addiction back. Your body will recognize the taste, it will bring the juices, and it will want to bring it back again and again and again. You'll lose a peace of mind. You'll be looking around for more. Do you understand what it means to have a peace of mind? Have anybody of you been on raw food long enough so you don't care at all about any cooked food, like it doesn't exist to you? You been there?
Yeah, and actually, like I've been trying to be raw for about 4 years now, and being mostly raw much of the time. And I was completely raw for 6 months, and I fell down and started eating a little bit of cooked food. And I can't get off the cooked food, and the craving is always there. I mean, and I know that when I was off the cooked food completely for that time, it was gone. Life was so effortless and sweet, you know. And it's just, I came back here hoping to get on that, just back into it, because I've been eating 20%, and all it ensures is that I'm always craving. I mean, I really am just eating 20%.
Yes. But it's impossible to explain it to others.
Yeah.
This peace of mind feeling is such a precious feeling. I just so much love it. What?
Maybe just a slight suggestion. Your word is your why. So if you say the word can, it negates everything.
Yeah.
So you have to watch your language, and then it'll help you.
Thank
You can do it.
Yeah, thank you. Well, you can always say yet. I can't yet.
Yeah.
You wanted to share?
Oh, the cooked food addiction is gone. What helped me, because I had a problem with saying I was addicted to something, I've never been addicted to anything. But I said, you know what, I'm going to pretend like I am addicted. And I'm going to treat cooked food like an addiction. And that's what I did. And I treat it like an addiction, and I don't eat it.
Yeah.
And that's how it worked for me.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you did call it an addiction.
Yeah, it is an addiction. Well, it's kind of harsh word. We're associated with negative things, but I'm sorry, I don't do it to hurt you. I do it because it works. Well, should we round up? I will never be able to answer all the questions, and I'm glad you have them.
What were the four universal laws of vital adjustment?
4? No, there's only one.
Oh, there's one, only one.
There's one law of universal adjustment, that all living things are constantly adjusting to the environment.
Okay.
That's the law.
That's it. There's
Yeah,
only one.
there's
Okay.
only one, yeah. Well, let me answer 2 last questions and then shortly, briefly, and then we'll, yes.
I have friends who tried to get on the raw food diet, and what they ended up being was kind of lousy raw fooders, because they would eat nothing but nuts and dried fruit. They would eat a couple of fruits a day, no vegetables, they didn't want any greens, and finally, after a period of 3 or 4 months, they were so ill that they went off the raw food diet, of course. But when I asked them, I said, you know, can you listen to yourself and hear what your body really wants you to eat? They said, we would get sick eating greens. We couldn't stand to eat greens. We didn't want anything like that. So it's like they almost couldn't have a balanced raw food diet at all.
Well, they were not aware of, they maybe had Crohn's disease or something. It's not that plain simple. It's actually simple, but because we used to just follow in some kind of rules and guidelines from somebody professional, so we just want to do something that says, you can do this, you do this, and they would do this. In raw food, you have to follow your own path. The best you could do, you can find somebody with similar illness or similar body type, and you could kind of create a support group. Support is very important. Once a month potluck is not enough. You need daily support. You need to know that anytime you can call Irene and talk with her. And that will make you keep staying on it. It's not easy, but you're so close to being there, and I'm glad to see so many people. It's like you were driving from Michigan to New York, and then you found yourself in Las Vegas. You figure out you took the wrong direction. You're actually almost in Los Angeles. What would you do? Would you turn around and begin to drive to New York? Or you will say, well, I'm almost there, let me as well go to Los Angeles. If you've been doing most of your life cooked food, and now you found that you've been doing wrong, would you want to turn around and do right for the rest of your life, or you would like to keep going because you're already almost there? So,
I want to be happy and healthy.
And happy.
No matter what it takes.
So what else I wanted to say?
May I ask you about water?
Water. Well, I think we need to drink water, but on raw food we need less water, but still we need to drink water. Water is different from any juice, because juice goes in the stomach and then you just pee and it goes out. It cannot really get absorbed in the body.
So drink less water on a raw diet?
Less, but because you don't have as much stuff that has to be flushed out. But you do need to drink several cups of water every day. Water doesn't go in the stomach. Water absorbs into the brain first of all. It goes in the brain. And we are actually dehydrated people. And whenever we drink Coke or whatever.
Are you familiar with this book?
Yeah, I have it. I read it. It's a very good book. But don't drink too much water also. Just kind of try to find a balance. What I'm trying to say, I cannot answer all the questions, but my most important message that will answer all your questions is listen to your body, believe that it's very wise, it has intellect beyond our understanding, and give each other support. And believe me, one day everybody will be aware of raw food. Like in my hometown, I live in Ashland, Oregon, 2.5% of population are raw fooders. And I feel so good, so lucky. In Ashland, you go to the local store, you buy there so many different kinds of raw crackers, so many different kinds of raw cookies, raw candies, so many raw hummuses and raw guacamoles just in the store. So many raw dressings. It became routine for so many people. On the West Coast, we have Frontier Airlines that serve raw food as alternative now. Wow. In the next 2 weeks, we'll have Portland Festival where 4,000 people signed up for already. And it's happening. And I see that in here. I come every year, and the numbers of people are growing and growing and growing. I remember some years ago, we would go two different places, and we will barely have 2, 3, 4 people who would listen to us for free, just because they had nothing else to do. And now you come in here, you're driving, you live in your families there, you come in, you're beginning to see you are the pioneers. You are going to make the difference. You're going to influence the world in such a beautiful way, positive way, and the world needs that. And so keep the spirit, carry on the energy, and let's meet again and again. We are now in the same boat. We're all in Raws now. So, my dear in Raws, I'll bump into you in the juice bar again and again, and we're doing a good thing. So, thank you for coming. Enjoy your day. Buy some books from us. The recipe for the crackers is in both books. The only common mistake people do when they do crackers, they make too thin layers. You have to put 3 ladles of cooked cracker dough per square sheet and dehydrate it. Excalibur, 3 ladles. Yeah, like average ladle. And then you, with the spatula, you spread it. And then 6 hours on one side. And then you put another sheet on and flip-flop on the other side. And then about 12 hours. And then you eat it.
I've never seen
an announcement.
No, I just wanted to thank you, Victoria, on behalf of the Creative Health Institute, and I'm sure everyone here. You've been my inspiration